Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Formula Sprint 1 action here on GPVWC's YouTube channel. My name is Eoin Harmon, and it is a thrill to be back at the Suzuka International Racing Course once again for the second round of this 16-round championship. Lots of prizes still to be won, and I'm delighted to have a substitute on offer today. Ed Hunter is unable to attend, but in his place, it's a fabulous colleague, one I hold very, very highly in my esteem. Amir Oates, how are you keeping?
Oh, you're making me blush, Owen, for that introduction. Thank you so much. Great to be back here in Formula Sprint 1. It's been a kind of a bit of a while since I've commentated here, all the way back in Yas Marina. But I was looking at the race that we had in Albert Park, and man, what a great start to the season that was. Alex Lahou with a win and a podium. Omari Watson having one of the most feel-good moments in probably GPVWC this year. Definitely a strong contention as he clinches his win for Potentia Grand Prix. And with anything, I'm really excited to see what Suzuka can bring us for here today in FS1.
100%, Amir. Thanks very much. And of course, broadcast director Fabian Jungbluth is ready to go, meaning Remco de Zeu can take his seat at Excellion Motorsports. We'll keep an eye out for our colleague there. But of course, the new teams, as you say, Amir, were the major packages here in FS1 2 weeks ago at Albert Park. But of course, there's always time for the more familiar names like KKR, HGP, and Overpower perhaps have a chance to fight back and make sure they're not going to be ignored as the season progresses. So yeah, a lovely day here at Suzuka, lovely sunny weather for the 5.8 kilometer circuit with the famous S's in Sector 1, the Degners before the bridge leading up to that hairpin, and then Spoon Curve to 130 yards. All such glorious scene here, and I can't wait to get going.
Yeah, I can't either. I think this qualifying is definitely probably going to be the most important that we have in the calendar thus far. It's one where each sector is almost different from the next. As we said, the third sector has been 130R followed by the Casio Triangle. The second sector follows through with the Spoon Curve and the Hairpin, and just leading up through to the Degner as well. And the first is just those very challenging S's, followed by the a very exciting turn 1 and turn 2, which is quite underrated to lead up to the S's. So it makes qualifying all the more important here to set the grid for today's race.
Without a doubt. And the qualifying, as we look forward to it, will be so important because strategy will be key around Suzuka, since overtaking is a lot more difficult compared to the majority of our circuits coming up this season. So a lot of drivers have to think if they can get into those 133s. We got some intel before tonight's race, thanks to Menno Klont. Just gave me a few pointers to keep an eye out on, and he predicts pole position will be in the 133s, 133.3 at the best case scenario, down to 133.6. So we'll make sure to follow along with that. And overtaking, as he says, will be very difficult. And the Degners, we've seen it in practice before the broadcast began, that the Degners are proving very difficult for these FS1 cars in their new spec to deal with. So we'll have to be very alert to see if the drivers can keep these beasts under control.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, control's probably going to be the biggest key for these drivers here today. We're definitely going to see drivers maybe push it just slightly more than what the car could give them during qualifying, but it's better to do it, I think, in problems during qualifying than also in the race.
Yeah, that's the way. So we're just past 7:30 in our time zone, Amir, and now it'll be 8:30 for Central European time. And for poor old Scott Flack, it'd be first thing in the morning for him. So lots and lots of dilemmas as qualifying is bound to begin in just a moment from now, as race control makes sure everything is ticking over as it should. I suppose one or two more drivers are still out on the track. And here comes our leaderboard. I think this would still be the practice data. So Alex with the 133.622 there for the Q Performance team, who have been excelling so far in their campaign. And I'm sure the team are still overjoyed that they got a first win and a first podium in both races. So yeah, to get a podium and a second place in debut, it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's clearly a really dream start for, Hugh Performance, especially for a new team on the block. I think it was, we weren't quite sure like how well that they're going to do, considering that they're just such a new outfit. But Leho has been extraordinarily talented and extraordinarily talented driver. So the fact that he's managed to get, you know, a win and a podium in that circumstances is pretty impressive. Eoin won't be here though for Team Hugh Performance. Jonas Carla, that did a really good performance in FS2, will indeed take Eoin's place, and I'm curious to see how he'll do. But that's not the only substitutes that we have today, though, Owen.
No, not at all. So we do have to look out for several other drivers who are getting their opportunity to have a go. So I see Bodil have Ruben van den Hudding in command of one of their cars. So Alex Gonzalez-Green, he will also be delighted to get his season off to a good start with the podium. And a fair few drivers will hope their opportunity is going to land on their laps, but they have to work very, very hard to do it. And we're almost ready to go for this qualifying session. And yeah, it should all be down to driver skill here to make sure they can execute that proper lap as soon as they can.
Yep, just it's really is all about timing here for qualifying. But as you said, I'm really looking forward to see who could come out on top. Leho been the fastest in warm up, but Rorschach has been following on close behind. I think the gap was just about 800ths. So if Rorschach can replicate a bit that during qualifying, then we could be in for a very exciting duel here.
Yeah, absolutely. So joining the track now should be one of the Excellions, I believe. We have to make sure we can tell those blue and yellow cars apart. Excellion have the benefit of blue rims around their wheels, and that should be one to watch. And Emerald Hummingbird, of course, we have to get used to them bringing a new identity to the grid yet again. And bit of lag at the moment, so it should be okay. There we are. One of the Team Iris cars that should be still one to watch, of course, is the Chutis. Lorenzo de Chutis won the first race last year, and then Yassi Latinen answered in the sprint. So Philip Koenig, now that he's a brand new signing for Team Iris, he'll want to make sure he's settling into his latest new surroundings and hoping this is the right place to help him reach his potential. So this outlap going through these dangerous Degners, as we've seen. Perhaps those high curbs on the outside of Degner 2 will cause these cars to bottom out, but we will, of course, keep an eye out, Amir.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, just interested to see how these debutants will go. Quite hard to kind of fit into the FS2 cars because in the FS1, it's you really need to almost be effectively almost on your A game with the throttle inputs and whatnot, and you know, controlling your car through these such difficult curves. So it does make those ones that are new to the FS1 machinery all the more difficult. But I still think they'll put on a really good fight, though.
Yeah, they certainly will. There's a lot more of the season to go. So if you feel like round one was a disappointment in your estimation, then don't let it bury you, because there's just so much more racing to do in this 2026 campaign. And there's definitely a chance for other drivers to give themselves the boost they need if Albert Park wasn't to their liking. So Koenig gets his lap underway. The fantastic start finish straight here at Suzuka, leading in to the first turn, and then the double apex coming thick and fast there. And now for the first time we can see these cars at full tilt in the S's, and Koenig getting through the curves pretty neatly there, just going a bit on the high side there, not using the curbs to his benefit there. And out through Dunlop he goes. That looks pretty good to me, Amir. Let's find out his split time. Should be in the 34s, 35s. Yeah, 33.9. That's very good. But of course everyone should be going purple without any representative times set yet.
Yeah, everyone is just effectively doing their first sectors already. I think the quickest has been Hosed on 334, so that's he's definitely the only one to have broken into the 34s at the moment. A lot of the Gazella also 42.38. That's going to be the benchmark for all the drivers here, at least for today. Koenig exiting out through to Spoon, utilize as much of the curb as he possibly can without a fear, and then just pushing the throttle down, approaching over through to the second sector. He's going to go. How will it be for himself? Gazella, the Romanian, manages to make a set benchmark time of 34.5. And here we go, all the times are coming in now, but we're still looking on with Koenig as he's just got the Casio triangle left to go for himself.
Oh,
Seems pretty good, a little bit. Yeah, a bit of understeer, but still enough to set a pretty good benchmark time for his qualifying quest, and that will be P11 for him.
Yeah, but look at that. Alex Laho has done it straight away. The target time of a 1:33.6, rounding up by 1,000th of a second there. And Patrick Roshak has lifted himself up to second place with 3/10 worse off there in the 1:33.8. And Chris Butcher here for Alpha Sierra Sim Racing will attempt to cross the line here. Plenty of experience on Butcher's shoulders, and that gets him P10 with a 1:34.8. And now Scott Flack, here he goes. He's got to get close to those 1:33s, but he can't quite make it. So it is very nice, though, to be P4 in his first attempt. Mateusz Gazowski's coming, and it should be another great time for him. Jack Mayer, former FS1 and FS2 champion, of course, has joined his teammate Amir Watson in the second row, and then a top 10 there for Gazowski. Stefano, though, knocks him out with a P8, 1:34.3.
Yeah, extremely strong qualifying. We're seeing, especially the battle for P2 between Roshak and Jack Mayer, just about 600ths of a gap that is between these two. And Amori Matson also joining through with about 100ths off. The potential drivers are going to go out again, I believe, and a chance for even more permits here on.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah, this track should rubber in very quickly. Oh, heavy hit of Dagner 1's curb there, and Jack's already way behind his ideal time, so perhaps he'll have to just back off and get this car into the pits as he's trying to go back-to-back, if I'm not mistaken. So this lap does not look like it will pay off for Jack. So with one quarter of the session done, pretty much, then he should be ready to get into the pits and try again. So, yeah, this track on the longer side, certainly Albert Park was generous with being a shorter circuit, but Suzuka with the incredible figure of 8 layout, it will punish drivers if their qualifying time is substandard. It'll take about 2 minutes off them automatically just for their out lap, and then if their in lap isn't good, then that'll be another minute and a half pretty much. So yeah, they've really got to be dialed in and ready. But Malsharek here for the second Team Iris car, he'll be ready to set his proper lap time in just a moment. Just going through Spoon right now. And yeah, solid enough debut for Malsharek in the Team Iris car 2 weeks ago. So let's see how the Slovakian can get on with his second attempt. He's currently P27. Oh, no, he doesn't have an attempt on the board yet. So this will be his first attempt in his brand new Team Iris car, Amir.
Indeed, the sole Slovak on the grid has done, as you said, pretty well come for his new debut, just about outside of the points in his first ever race for the purple outfit. So if there's anything to go by, he is quite a good contender to maybe get some points around here. But depends how well his qualified run can go here as he enters in for turn 1, X's out for turn 2, and through to the first sector that he's going to go navigating through the very difficult S's. The first series upcoming, and then just shift down a little bit, and then you can sort of almost floor upon this exit here, hopefully allowing for the downforce to carry you right round through this stretch. And again, Dagner, extremely important, has caught people out during warm-up, will catch people out here during qualifying, which Christian navigates perfectly, and the first sector is recorded, 4/10 off, kind of looking pretty okay.
Yeah, pretty solid so far. And now to the hairpin he goes. Looking pretty strong now. So this corner we've seen in the past in other categories here in GPVWC. You can hook up an overtake to perfection here if you really have the courage to do it. But alas, qualifying, that's not a concern at the moment. So Christian will power through beyond Spoon onto the school straight. And he should be hoping to cross the sector line about now. Here he comes. Yeah. 42.7 sector 2, pretty solid here. So his target should be to try and catch up to his teammate Philip. There we go, through the final chicane he goes, and this should be about on course for a 1:34. Here he goes. Oh, just missing out there, 1:35.1, meaning he's narrowly behind his teammate there. Well, that's not too bad. And here we go again with Alex Laho. Or Alex Lahu, however you prefer to pronounce it. He's going through Spoon right now, Amir, and he looks to set an even greater target for everyone to chase.
Rorschach, I thought that was Thailand that pushed himself up into third, so it's kind of heating up even more right behind Laho. But no one can really seem to challenge him. 76 thousandths improvement, 14 thousandths improvement in the second sector. Could be looking for an all purple here. He's just got the Casio triangle left to go. Can he put Team Heat performance once again? He humps on the curve into the first corner, right round for the exit. Through to the final corner. It is improvement all around for Alex Laho, and it's pushed himself between himself and Watson, who's just improved to get up into second. Even more, it's nearly come down to half a second.
Oh, this is crazy stuff to be so one-sided here on his return to FS1 after attempting to go all the way to the top of Super League. But here's Damien Cardas, and he smashes it onto the second row for Gallery 82 and their special new livery dedicated to Japanese cherry blossom nature and other elements of culture. So very good job there. And Ragoza gets 0-1 Esports purring there with a P9. Mateusz Kozowski improves to a P10, but I think it was a case where he was P10 and his time was just slightly better. I can double check that, of course, but very good job from several of our drivers now as they settle in with just under 6 minutes to go.
Talk about improvements. Emil Tonginberg seems to be the most approved coming out from Albert Park. The fact that both of their drivers are within the top 10 is nothing short of impressive, and they're the second highest performing team during qualifying here. If you, with potentially being first with second and sixth for Watson and Amir respectively. Van Surst for MS Performance. He is trying to match up for his teammate Stefano, who's just about within the point scoring position in that magical number of P15. But through 130R, the Dutchman will go. And just the final two corners left to go for Van Surst. About 5 minutes left onto the clock, so everyone will be going to aim for their last runs in about a couple of minutes. But Raymond, exiting out through to the final quarter, will be a net improvement for himself. Yes, it will. Just on the edge for the top 10, though. Really impressive there from Van Surst.
Yeah, lovely stuff, Raymond. Now that he's firmly settled into the FS1 category, the MS Performance team will be hoping to see even greater results for them after a difficult 2025 season. And very, very well done. So, yeah, the top 5 as it stands is Alex Lahu on provisional pole, nearly half a second clear of Amari Watson, and Damien Cardas P3, with Lucas Tylene getting in amongst it. But before that, Patrick Rorschach has just slipped in there. He must have just got the job done there. And Lucas Tylene down to P5 with Jack Mayer just hoping to sneak a few extra hundredths in his time to get a P5 away, but he's currently 6. So yeah, Patrick Rorschach trying again here for Emerald Hummingbird. They'll be delighted to have 2 cars in the top 10, which boosts their chances of the reverse grid draw coming up after the feature race. A lovely design on Patrick's helmet here, and we'll get better intel as to how he's doing towards the sector line. So there we go. He's 10th up on his sector 1 time. Can he do even better here? Yes, he can. This is looking very good, Amir. Can he just seal the deal through 130R and the Casio triangle?
I mean, he's so quick. He's just about quicker than Cartas was in the second sector. So Casio triangle, all very important. A little bit of a twitch, but manages to recover. Is it going to be enough to get himself up into the top 3 for the time being? Yes, it will be, and it will be second. And that gap between himself and Laho has closed up even more as he's managed to make up about a 10th and a half. Impressive.
Oh, without a doubt, he's perhaps got the final opportunity to call Menno Klant with the information. Puts himself P9, so great improvement there from 15th all the way up to 9th. That's what you want to see from Menno Klant and CM Tech. Made a pretty solid debut, of course, with Klant behind the wheel. But Wesley Stefano, now that he's lost his place in the top 15, he'll want to get that back. And he's on target so far. Oh, he's gone a little bit wide there, maybe a bit misleading from the direction of the camera, but nevertheless, he will still have confidence in his machinery. Yeah, I know he has lost a lot of time there, but he's still about capable of improving if he nails this final chicane. Here he goes. Good turn in. Bit of a bump on the first curb, but fine out of the exit. He's just got to go flat out all the way to the end here, hoping to get to the low 134s, but it's not quite enough. Despite that improvement, he stays P16.
Yeah, and that second sector was extremely costly for Stefano to be 6 tenths over. It just makes you wonder how much a premium would be if that second sector was just a bit better. Alex Gonzalez Green had his podium back at Albert Park, but he's currently staying in 17th for Bulldog Racing Team, and no improvements from the first two sectors means that he's calling it quits. And Van den Herding, similar situation, goes back into the pits as well after a hefty contact at the exit of turn 9.
Yes, we were saying the Deckners are proving very challenging for our FS1 chassis so far, but it's a shame there to lose the second bottle, the number 77 of Van den Herding. He will have to settle for lower midfield start, depending on how everyone else gets on. But of course, Junio Lopez, let's not forget, he had a stellar first race in the Australian round, but then race 2 went pear-shaped on him. He had that step out on the DRS towards the chicane, the 10-11 chicane at Melbourne, and he had the big crash. But now we're going to see him for the first time in this session with just under 60 seconds remaining, and he's got to nail this, Amir, to get a representative time in and get close to his teammate Magnus.
Yeah, dark horse back in Albert Park. I don't think the fact that he was so close to challenging the race win from low just goes to show how much of a talent Lopez has, and is kind of carrying Clap Clay as a little bit of a result of it. Just unfortunate how it kind of panned out in the end. But a chance for redemption for Junio, though, as the time slowly ticks down. This is going to be probably his last run, as this plus the Casio triangle, the timer will, I think, run out, but it might be close. We'll see. Can the Portuguese driver set in for a lap time? Just through the final few corners left to go. Ooh, a little bit much into the first curve, but should be fine. Mayer improves up into 5th. The timer is slowly ticking down. It's going to be so close if he makes it. He does make it, and that's a P13 for his first run, but a chance to go again for Junio, I think.
Yeah, if he can refuel, he has refueled that car to go again, that'd be ideal. But now Scott Flack in 8th position so far is slightly up in Sector 1 and pushing on as best he can through the school straight before 130R, and he's up again. This could be good enough to get into P5, maybe even 4th at a real turn up for the books here. Here we go through the final chicane. Goes the number 25 Australian driver here, 133.8. Oh, fantastic! He's done even better than that. 3rd position, and that leaves Amari Watson feeling a little bit down there, but he's still in a great position heading into our feature race. Magnus Oakenhag, unfortunately, this lap will not count. He'll have to settle for at least 15th.
Yep, Lopez has called it quits. Watson has called it quits. Scott Flack seems quite certain to take that 3rd place. Cartas hasn't improved. Mayer has gone into the pits. So it seems to be almost all and done with here during qualifying. No one really seems to have challenged Lewis since he managed to put that his first pole position lap time. Chris Butcher, though, last driver for Alpha Sierra Sim Racing, will be one of the last drivers to set their lap times, but it's green all around, so a chance for a position bump, and it will be a position bump for Chris Butcher as he gets himself up at a P16.
Yeah, just outside the points paying positions here, but Chris will definitely be able to work that car to its maximum potential, particularly if lap 1 goes according to plan. That's always the jeopardy for all of our drivers. And that concludes the qualifying session here at Suzuka, and it was a stunning time on target there for Alex Lahu to beat Patrick Roshak by 3 tenths, and the championship leader is unfazed by the recent certainly opinions about him, saying he's just far too good, but we'll decide for absolute certain if he keeps up this form. And Scott Flack, Amari Watson and Damien Cardows have 5 different teams in the top 5, so that's a great look for our opening race, with Jack Mayer, the 2nd Potentia driver, in 6th place. Lucas Tylene, Frank Hamming, Menno Klont and Alexander Ragoza have our top 10 positions in their control. Matthias Guzowski, Raymond Van Sust, Junio Lopez, Oliver Hargitay and Magnus Oakenhag will say we want to hold on to these points positions however we can. Chris Butcher is lurking there. We just saw him a moment ago for Alpha Sierra in 16th. Massimiliano Raboli in the 2nd overpower has 17th place. Wesley Stefano, Alex Gonzalez Green, and Wopke Hoekstra settling into the top 20. 18 cars within a single second of the pole sitter. Very, very good stuff. But it's still a strong grid down to our third page with Emmanuel Gazzella, Michael Galka, Philip Koenig, Ruben van den Hudding, Christian Malsharak, Jonas Kurala, Cedric Bill, and Remco De Zeu rounding up the 28-time set. Pablo Serrano and Dominique Korshaven did not set any times, but should be allowed to enter the race as per race control's discretion. So our warm-up session will get underway in 10 seconds now, Amir. So any thoughts on what we've just witnessed?
Qualifying was great. I mean, I don't think Laho being that far ahead was honestly kind of a little bit of a surprise to me. I thought it'll be a little bit more closer than that, and also when considering the fact that a little bit of GPVWC paddock news that he's driving with the flu as well, and still manages to set out through a lap time like that is quite impressive. But I'm more impressed by the battle that we saw outside of the pole, because if we discounted Laho, this would have been a really exciting fight for pole position between it was Watson, it was Mayer, it was Thailand, Flack, and yes, just so many people. And the fact that we managed to see a last minute improvement, but such a big gap though to split Rushak from the rest is honestly incredibly impressive. And again, it's nice to see sometimes teams kind of get reborn or have some sort of like momentum to carry with them. And Hamilton Hummingbird, that has been kind of in the lower midfield back at Albert Park, seems to be like in really good contention for a ton of points here today. And honestly, as commentators, we like to see teams get spotlight as well, and some drivers get shine brightly in some cases. But so the fact that it seems to be Rushak's day is honestly brings me a bit of a smile to my face.
Of course, yeah. But whenever the news filters through to the Hue Performance team boss, Duong Tran, over in Vietnam, I'm sure he'll be absolutely delighted with what he's going to hear. As certainly to get another pole position in the column is absolutely phenomenal for the brand new team. So yeah, it was a case where Alex Sahu has been picked up very late on into the pre-season, but he's made an astonishing impact, and we'll see how that fares. But of course, our usual thumbnail talk, we've got Alpha Sierra Sim Racing getting their turn in the spotlight in this particular YouTube thumbnail. So yeah, pretty reasonable campaign for Alpha Sierra Sim Racing to begin with, but of course we didn't see Korshaven take to qualifying, so that does limit what we can bring to the table with that team. But certainly to get promoted from FS or sorry, relegated from Super Lights, it is a bit of a tough deal to stomach, but of course it's a great chance to reset and try again.
Yeah, I mean, this is their first year in FS1, so they're kind of entering into this championship with a bit of no basis to effectively go by. Remember, they spent 5 years in the Formula Sprint 2 until they've won, until a second place and then a win was enough for them to bump themselves up into Super Lights. And even though that Horshaven has been a pretty decent point score last year, it's kind of clear it's a little bit of a challenge sometimes. I think sometimes it might be easier for drivers to move from a slow car to a faster car than it is to move to a faster car a bit to a slow one. I think sometimes it takes easier than that. But yeah, I'm quite surprised that Horshaven kind of struggled, at least in Suzuka, because he actually did pretty well in his first outing, if you consider that he finished 14th and 12th in his first ever one, his first Alpha Sierra sim racing event. But it's actually honestly pretty good for how they managed to settle in. I think maybe there might have been a discussion that they might have struggled a bit more, but no, there seemed to be, I think they found their pace and they're kind of relatively sitting in. And the fact that they sit now 7th after just one race is just going to show that maybe it's a sign of things to come, that they're ready to rebuild and slowly morph back into that championship winning team that they were in FS2.
Yeah, absolutely, Amir. So, yeah, just having to concentrate on a new series, having been relegated, it's never easy, but it does allow just to absorb what didn't go so well in the previous campaign, and then use the opportunity to start fresh and realize, yeah, perhaps the quote unquote slower car might be a little bit challenging at first, but then once you realize, yeah, I might not have the same power output as I did last year, but I can certainly use my racecraft that I've learned from the second tier to my advantage with so many quality drivers up there in Super Lights. But yeah, look back from the wheel ring here of the CM Tech. Menard Plant, of course, starting in a strong top 10. That'll allow him to build a platform to get even more points for the team. But poor Wapke, I think, had a tough time under speculation that he could be a title contender. But yeah, he would have preferred not to be given that kind of attention. But yeah, I hope he can put the first round behind him. And yeah, certainly I think his race 2 is a lot better. But I could be forgetting. But either way, Wapke will hope to push on. He found a little bit of time towards the end of the session, but to get points is what he wants more than anything.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm just trying to remind myself for the qualifying order, because unfortunately we don't have any live timings because RaceView is currently down a bit for the moment. So apologies to the viewers that wanted to tune into this server, but well, us for the commentators, we have to effectively go through the timing tower to see what happens. So that's going to make commentating all the more hectic, because usually we're notes. We've got either a second monitor or a tablet of our live timings, but now this isn't going to be the case. And as a bit of a spin, oh my goodness, the Joyton has long with the other.
Oh, that was a close call there with the Gallery 82
Jesus.
Coming on at full speed there. Thankfully, no contact took place. And yeah, so you don't usually get to see the rear wing here of the Alfa Sierra, so certainly stands out pretty nicely. It's the only primary black livery, I suppose. 01 Esports have a more carbon silver into grey sort of livery, whereas Alfa Sierra have gone for the painted black with red and white, which is a combination I adore. So yeah, very, very good stuff there. But let's see if Chris can get himself through a few of those cars in the points and get himself moving and grooving in this second round of the championship, and maybe, just maybe, benefit from a reverse good draw in a fantastic outcome. Another car off there in the background. So you can see a bit of an overstep there, but the car eventually bit into the tarmac as it should, and across the line to begin another lap.
Yeah, the lottery is quite a key importance here in Formula Sprint 1, and it's going to be interesting to see whether I think Chris Witcher has done pretty well. If he can, make up places like he did back in Elmwood Park, then I think he could be a huge beneficiary come for race 2. And again, without the pits, it means that everyone is kind of narrowed into mainly just focus on really one strategy, and that's just prolong the tires as much as you possibly can. The feature race is also quite key as well in that aspect in regards to the lottery, because it depends on how your strategy goes. And I haven't really talked much about strategy, because Suzuka is kind of the one that you can either conserve your tires and defend, or just eat your tires and go flat out. There isn't really much of a, if you try find it in between, you're not really going to be you're almost a little bit in no man's land. So it's completely I'm doing 6-7 with my hands. It's completely balanced into which way you want it to. Oh goodness me.
Yeah, you fell into that trap there, Amir, but
for God's sakes,
hopefully no one in chat has picked up on what you've just done with your hands. So yeah. Yeah, just having a bit of fun here, Fabian.
Off the boot. Goodbye.
Yeah, that's a minute timeout for Amir, but yeah, of course, get back on topic. Yeah, pit entry here is very, very dangerous if you're not concentrating, because the retaining wall will definitely bite if you're going in too quick and you understeer, or else even oversteer. You could end up hitting the barrier with the back end of your car and cause all sorts of danger. So that's what we hope not to see. But of course, the pit exit will allow you to take turn 1 flat out. So as long as there's nothing oncoming, then that's your chance to perform an over or an undercut, particularly if you're a car intending to run away at the front. Then to plan your undercut will give you a great chance if you don't have too much traffic to deal with. So that's the advantage. Turn 1 is pretty much flat out if you have plenty of space, but oncoming cars will have right of way, so you don't want to exit the blend line any later than you should, which would then result in a massive accident. So yeah, that's what the drivers need to plan for, is that ideal pit stop strategy. The soft tires can last between 9 and 12 laps in a delta, and then hard tires for the 26 laps should be able to go just beyond halfway to about lap 14, and then get themselves softs to try and claw some of those positions back. But no doubt the overtaking is going to be super difficult.
Yeah, but the DRS zone heading into turn 1 is the thing that's going to make overtaking here just a little bit more easier, and that DRS also, because I was thinking like, well, it's quite hard to overtake like in general here in Suzuka, so if it wasn't for the DRS zone, pretty much everyone will be effectively starting on the hards. But that DRS means that some people will bite the bullet and hope to take on the softs, and just hope that they follow through enough through the first 2 sectors, which is quite producing a lot of dirty air, might I remind you, especially for Degner, when in a full fuel load you can't really do it flat out. But until then, you kind of have to, like, as soon as you think you can take Degner flat out, then it's about how much life you have in those tires. But then they're going to hope that they can facilitate the dirty air enough that come for the 3rd sector, they will have the slipstream, and then after the Cassius Triangle, they will have the DRS. So I imagine there's going to be drivers that will have differences on when to start the tires on, and from that we can see their mindset as to what their game plan is for their race today. But that's the thing to keep an eye out for, is the tire compound choices that the drivers will make today.
Of course, yeah, we will definitely watch out and witness what will come for the tire strategies. I'm sure some of the drivers, let's say 25th through 30th, it might be worth just having a gamble and going a bit longer on your strategy. Whereas if you're 16th to 20th, then yeah, I think the split strategy, going soft to hard like most other drivers will, would be logical. But that's the way things shall go. So yeah, everyone's back in the garage, and I think we're just about ready for a brief presentation in a minute or so. So we'll wait for the right cue and get ourselves ready for the formation lap. So yeah, still the sun shines here at Suzuka, so let's get going and come back after a quick promo. Still, oh, never mind. I was a little bit early there, so I have to still get used to this new concept. So yeah, we'll wait for the correct signal, and then we can build up towards our formation lap. So yeah, all still still fresh and change, or I should say, yeah, it's all brand new for the new season, just to make sure we have extra promo abilities. So go ahead.
I've just realized the crowd is looking away from the track. They're looking at the camera.
Oh dear, they're looking at the camera.
That is scary. Help.
My.
So they're not watching so they're not actually watching the cars. They're just watching the camera. So none of these are motorsport fans. Oh my god! That is scary. That is scary.
Yeah.
I'm having nightmares. Oh god.
Well, yeah, that's what lack of race view does to a commentary and camera team. So I think, is this the correct cue? Let's bring it on. And here come our cars to be spawned in with race control, making sure everyone is set up properly. So, yeah, again, the clouds remain clear, so yeah, there should be another minute to go before this formation lap is organised and ready. And yeah, it should be Alex Lahou watching those mirrors to make sure that those drivers behind won't get a sneaky dive at him into the first turns. The first two corners definitely overtaking zones at the start of the race. So yeah, looks like a complete grid now. And we're hopefully ready to get this formation lap rolling. Oh, there we go, of course. Patrick has to get his turn as well. So there we go. That's the final call here for race control to let everybody get underway. Yes, there we go. So we have movement, and we will summarize our grid for you once again, starting with the pole sitter Alex Lahou for Team Hugh Performance. Patrick Roshak in second place for Emerald Hummingbird, looking to bring that rebranded team to the top. Scott Flack and Amir Watson have the second row to themselves. Damien Cardaz and Jack Mayer 5th and 6th. Lucas Tyleen in 7th, and Frank Hamming has P8. The top 10 belongs to Menno Klont and Alexander Ragoza. Mateusz Kozowski, Raymond Van Soest 11th and 12th. And Junio Lopez will see his teammate Magnus Okenhag behind him, 13th and 15th for Scuderia Cap Clay. Oliver Hargitay in 14th, and then Chris Butcher and Alpha Sierra is just outside the points in 16th. Massimiliano Raboli has 17th, ahead of Wesley Stefano in the MS Performance, the second part of that team. Then Alex Gonzalez Green and Wopke Hoekstra are the top 20. Manuel Gacella, Michael Galka, Philip Koenig, and Ruben van den Hudding, 21st through 24th. Christian Malsharek, Jonas Kurala, Cedric Bill, and Remco Deseo, the final four cars to set valid lap times, 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th. The two drivers that did not participate in the qualifying but are allowed to race: Pablo Serrano for 01 Esports and Dominic Korshavin, who's in the garage at the moment, is P30. So pit lane start for the Ukrainian, most likely there. And same for Pablo. So they'll be starting from the pits here, Amir. Perhaps not the worst thing in the world at this track. They should have Sector 1 to go through the S's by themselves, and then they'll hopefully catch the train just after the Degners.
Yep, and with that momentum, I bet they can maybe propel themselves forward to overtake a couple of cars to maybe benefit themselves and put themselves even in a better position. But also, turn 1 kind of narrows a bit into turn 2, so if there is an accident, then you can see Serrano and Horshavin being the big beneficiaries of this as they make up places. But still, a complete 30-car grid here for today at Suzuka, and I'm really looking forward to see who will be victorious and all the drama and all the storylines that we'll be able to see here for race 1.
Yeah, Lahou Mania has given Team Hugh Performance the initiative into this Suzuka spectacular. Here come the two cars, which will start from pit lane. So they'll have pretty much a free hit here on the harder compound tires to give themselves a right push. But now we await the starting lights to get this second round of the 16 race championship underway. Here, hopefully they come. Everyone is lined up and ready. An aggressive pointing there from Lahou. He's going to try and defend from Roshak with the 5 lights illuminated, and away they go. Green flag racing, good block from Lahou to stop, but Scott Flack is watching and waiting to see if he can make a difference as Ari Watson falls back into P4. Damien Cardaz holds on to 5th. Jack Mayer stabilized in 6th.
Whoa!
But now through the S's, you've got to be very careful if you're going to do anything beside an opponent. But a fabulous start there from Lopez. He's up 2 places already, 3 as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that's an incredible start there, and they're going to go side by side still for the first sector. Van den Hudding making up a little bit of ground in the process, but Lahou is still going to lead the charge as they enter through to the Degner curve, and they're all going to enter it now around for the first time. That's side by side. I see going over. Someone's in a little bit to the curve. That'll be Klunt as he loses out the position to Ragoza. who makes up a position, and 0-1 gets himself up into 11th place. Everyone has navigated for the first sector well, and what a great start this is. Oh my word, that was Gazowski going a bit sideways, trying to make an overtake on Hamming, but has to stay behind to defend himself from Lopez.
Yeah, very important work to keep Lopez at bay. And he may have just had a little jump there in the timing screen, but he's all right. He has a little bit of a gap to Ragosa, Raymond van Sust in vision of his fellow countryman Menno Clant. So they'll have an interesting fight into the Casio Triangle once we reach the final part of the lap. But Lahu just off our screens there, he's pushing hard as best he can to try and break that 0.7 of a second golden barrier. And now down the inside, Van Sust has to back out of it before contact is made, and tire locking there with Argatai, which could have been a horrendous moment there. But Emma's performance should feel like Stefano has the momentum here, and he can make an overtake to get P14, as that was a bit of a struggle there, but it's not too harmful. Again, through turn 2 they go side by side, and Wesley Stefano is through officially.
Yeah, that was very, very close. Hargatai definitely lost so much momentum, and as a result has just dropped down in the process. That front wheel with rear wheel is not ideal whatsoever. It puts you off on the wrong foot, especially at the exit of the Casio Triangle, which leads into, again, a straight. And it's just very fortunate. Laho has dropped off. He's dropped off from the lead to third.
Oh, a sudden change here must have happened in the last 15 seconds or so, and that means Roshak takes the lead for Emerald Hummingbird. The delight will be felt all around Poland here to have their man in front. So Lahu has made an error out of the complete blue at the moment. So Scott Flack also profits from that situation. We'll hopefully double check what happened. It must have been after Dunlop curve. He made a mistake of some sort, and he's lost 2 places. And Amari Watson would love a little bit of a replay of race 2 weeks ago and get back ahead of the Frenchman.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's possibility to do that. DRS will be activated, and not to mention 7/10 there. That's Jack Mayer trying to make his way past on through Damien, but can't quite do it. Stays behind for the Casio Triangle, and hope round to the final corner, through to the home stretch. DRS will be enabled. You have to be about 7/10, I think, to utilize it. So that's the magic number that all these drivers are going to be eyeing for. But look at this battle up front between Flack and Roshak. Flack right down to the inside through turn 1, makes it, and will take the lead away from Roshak.
Oh, elementary pass there. Scott lined that one up beautifully, and Patrick Roshak has that brief moment of optimism, but now it's Scott Flack in the lead. So we've had 3 lead changes in 3 laps, and that bodes very, very nicely for our event here at Suzuka. And Scott is absolutely roaring away here. He's going to try and get 8/10 clear to guarantee a defense from that DRS system that helped him on his way. Patrick Roshak having to be careful of those Degner 2 curbs on the outside just before the bridge, and now through the hairpin. Lahu still in charge of his destiny in P3 at the moment. Damien Cardo's stable in P5, so great drive here for the Gallery 82 car. So very, very good stuff here. Jack Mayer still in contention. Tylene Hamming, Gazowski and Lopez are the top 10, and they're all within DRS.
Yeah, if potentially can get Jack Mayer past Cardo's, that's going to allow Watson's journey up to the front all the more easier. We've got our first yellow flag into the second sector. That might have been a bit of a collision. I think Cedric Bill has dropped off the order, but time will tell. We're getting through to the Casio Triangle, though. Watson is keeping the pressure onto Laho, so it's not all over yet for himself. Unio has had his quest up on the front a little bit, halted a bit for the time being, but with the DRS could bring some life into the battle here, as he's going to try and aim for Gazowski to displace the Emerald Hummingbird, but we'll have to worry about Ragosa from behind. No overtakes made yet for turn 1. They all stay in the single file line.
Yeah, it's just a little bit too soon to be daring to overtake cars that are in a train at the minute, but they will certainly have time when the pit stop cycle begins. It will reduce the amount of traffic they need to deal with. And yeah, let's see now.
Yeah,
it might have been Philip Koenig in trouble. Yeah, it was Koenig.
That's my apologies.
That's okay. Oh, there he is again.
Slow, wow.
He is slow out of turn 2. Well, yeah, the Degners not claiming any more opportune car mistakes at the minute. So Jack Mayer with his experience around here, having the head-to-head battle with Szymon Frelick for the 2023 title. And let's see if he can pick up points after that desperately unfortunate disconnection took him out of race 1 2 weeks ago. And yeah, he's settling in now behind the Gallery Ready 2 car with the special Japanese livery.
Yep, the lovely Cherry Blossom one to signify the start of the Sakura season here in Japan during spring. And nice way to show for that, as the blossoms are also, the cherries are also blossoming here in Japan. That's how he goes sideways through the Casio, but a fantastic save means that he does not lose P8. But that's going to allow him in prime contention to lose that though to Grzowski, who will have the DRS and no pressure from Lopez behind to make the move. And here we go, Grzowski round for the outside will surely make the overtake before the corner. Is he going to do it? Oh my goodness me!
Oh.
No, he doesn't. Having defense brilliantly to still hold on to P8.
That's insane, and the audio levels are booming here in the FS1 commentary booth. We're seeing a superb start to the race. Lap 5 underway for race leader Scott Flack, who is a second ahead of Patrick Roszak in second position. So Lopez, we know how racy he can be. He would have been watching that with great interest to see if there would have been a side-by-side battle in turn 1. But Frank Hamming has denied the opportunity. He's gone wide again, and that might be one mistake too many. And Hamming will fall out with the points, most likely. Yeah, he's in a severe bit of trouble. Down to P16, and the tyres will still be dusty.
Yeah, that's unluckily doesn't seem to have lost his front wing. Again, just one contact of the wall, and you have to do a likely pit stop. And here as Oates swings his way right for the outside up Van Surst, and through to the inside line for Spoon means that Magnus will now take P12. So Lopez and Oates both making up places.
Yeah, they both had a splendid race 2 weeks ago. P9, P10 in the end there. So they'll be hopeful that their chances will continue to grow for Scuderia Cap Clay. And yeah, Van Sust and Oakenhag still inseparable here going into the Castle Triangle. But good news for Clont, he's able to pull a little bit of a gap to the Norwegian. And let's see what happens in this battle for 14th. As Oliver Hargitay has to defend from Wesley Stefano. And down the inside, that looks like Oakenhag again. Is this his chance? Yes, it does look good to me. Yeah, good work there to stay in position. And Hargitay will now try to lurk into the battle. Oh, he's getting very close. That will cost him into the final part of the S's. Yeah, you can see now the car's a little bit unstable. And he has to work hard in the Dunlop curve just to stay in this race. So good work there from Oliver. Now to the Degners we shall go, and that looks right and proper to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Just they both have such different patterns, but Van Surst, the big beneficiary from that, as I just got so close as he possibly can without having to alter, but unfortunately alter he did, and that's cost him a bit of time. We do have our first retirement of the race, and unfortunately it is Dezeo.
That's a great shame for Remco. He won't get to see the checkered flag after he was mandated to come into the camera race direction role, or the broadcast direction role there. So it's a shame for Remco that he has not finished his official debut for Excellion, but he'll have a chance in race 2 to try again from P30.
Oh.
And a chance from deep here. Hargitay, oh, impressive work there, but not quite enough. But the battle for 15th is on, as Hamming has made up some places again. Wesley Stefano will say, yeah, come here to me, I want this back.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's going to try his best. You can see Oakenhag as well defending, but still tension up ahead as Stefano and Hamming will still retain their positions. I think that was Roboli and Gonzalez Green going side by side.
No, Gonzalez Green through Butcher, sorry. Yeah, Gonzalez Green.
Yeah, Gonzalez Green through Butcher. Yeah, so that was an impressive battle I was seeing as well. Lots of battling throughout this race, and still lap 726 has never been a dull lap at once.
Oh, Wesley, careful now. That's a little bit too aggressive into the Dunlop curve, and he'll have to renege that position too, Roboli. So that was lovely. Oh, mistake again into the Dagnars car wide. It's Ragoza, I think. Yeah, Ragoza's tumbling down the order. He's rejoined just in the nick of time, but that will be a dangerous situation for oncoming cars. that will be the racing line. He has to rejoin there. There's no alternative. We'll check out our replay courtesy of Fabian Jungbluth, and he is in the garage, so that might be an error that has destroyed the car. So we'll double check that.
We saw like a brief smoke out of Dagnar, I think it was, but then he just suddenly disappeared out of nowhere because I don't know what we've seen about running back, but unfortunately I think the replay is a little bit broken. So if we can, we might be able to see our replay in a later stage if all that is resolved. But tension stop the front though. Yeah, it's fine. Flack still leads, followed by for Rorschach. Down it's Laho. Laho still under pressure from Watson, and all these four have not let themselves out though. That's Thailand going up against Karnazaz, right down to the inside for turn 1, and that has allowed for the KKR Esports driver to punch himself up into the top 5.
Yes, that makes a big change here. Thailand has got the job done rather than Mayer, so the Super Swede is raring to go here around Suzuka. And this is a great opportunity for KKR to really build up the fact that they're the highest ranking team still coming in from the 2025 season into 2026. So they'll want to start building up those wins and podiums whenever they can. And Thailand with Oliver Hargitay also in the points makes it a pretty strong showing here for KKR so far. But before the pit stop window opens, we can see the balancing act for Flack is he is out of DRS range at the moment, but he may want to consider going a little bit longer to benefit from this fact that, if anything, Lahu is chasing down Rorschach.
Flack has always been really good on the tires, so I think it's just a matter of a question of if his tire save advantage that we have seen last season can correlate to these new regulation of cars. But Laho has been a really good driver that he can always provide the challenge to even the best in what has been his return back here to FS1. And still, even in third means that he's I kind of gave it all, but Rorschach has been pretty much similar on his pace, but Rorschach won't have the DRS, so that's going to make Laho's job to overtake him a little bit more easier, and Laho is going to hope to try and get back the lead that he lost a couple of laps earlier. That is Uni Lopez going right down to the inside of Kozowski to get himself up into P8. Uni Lopez has again done really well so far, and Okalag is into the pits.
Yeah, this is great news for Cap Clay because they know Magnus, with his abilities to use short lap pace to his advantage, he can use that first of all, and second of all, he can give the delta information to Junio so that when it's his turn to box, he knows roughly where he can emerge when it's his tire strategy plan coming into force, and then he can try and make sure he lands himself 1 or 2 extra positions. So yeah, Junio Lopez looking good for points at the moment, so he just wants to get that information from his teammate to see how these hard tires fresh out of their blankets are getting on.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's a good idea for Klopp K to do that. And again, with the clean air in front of Magnus, he's able to push those tires much to the fullest, unlike the some drivers that won't be able to do that though. But look at Laho though. Rorschach is under immense pressure from it, and Laho will have the DRS as well coming for the home stretch. That's why he's not really eager to make the overtake into the Casio Triangle, because he knows as close as he is, he'll have the DRS to make the overtake to the first corner. Is it going to happen? How soon will it be, Eoin?
Could be next lap, I think, Amir. But he's really gonna dare this opponent to challenge him. He's gone for the inside and wide goes Scott Clark. Oh my word, he's back in the lead nearly. But it'll be the S's that decide who's going to lead. Rorschach is still there. And now Amari Watson. Oh my heavens, this is crazy stuff here. And a shock horror for Overpower to lose the lead like that. But at least P4 is still available to Scott, and he can slot back into this place. But 5 minutes or 5 seconds of madness here in FS1 to see the lead changing at least 4 times there in a flash. But well done to Patrick Rorschach for using his defensive nous to keep a hold that spot. I'm sure the pits have to be wide open for these top 4 drivers.
And that's really cost Scott Flack all that pace. Look at the gap between Watson and Flack. 3 whole tenths. That's been happening, and that's now pushed Thailand to the inside through Spoon. He's going to try and make up to claw himself up to the ground that Scott Flack has effectively lost. But this is unfortunate for Flack. 3 wide heading into turn 1. I'm wondering if Flack might have been a bit confused or surprised at the fact that Rorschach and Laho were going side by side and just cut him off by his element, or he just simply locked up and just couldn't bear to turn anymore and had to use the runoff to save his car. But this is not looking pretty good for Scott Flack as he heads into the pits. So yeah, his trying to call it quits now and hope for a change of compound will turn his fortunes around.
Yeah, so Patrick has he's gone wide! Turn 2 again, causing complete mayhem, and Lahoo is finally back into the lead. He will have a claim to it this time. His daring attempt on the previous lap to go down the inside was thrown into a bit of a grinder there with the defense of Rorschach. Well, we'll see this replay from Lahoo earlier in the session. Was it Degner's or not? No, we don't know, but we'll have to get back to the action on the track here with the pitters forming into perhaps the bottom of the standings here. I don't see them where they might be. Yeah, these are 19th for Scott Flack there, and Thailand 20th, so they're just outside the points. I think there was an overtake. Gatchella versus Van Den Hooden might have had a battle there for position. So that's all going on here, Amir. So we have to stay eyes peeled now because Rorschach is losing time to Lahoo, which no doubt tells me it's time for him to get into the pits. And Watson will be watching with great interest to see if he can use the pit stops to gain even more positions. So extraordinary stuff here, but watching out. The pitters from the last lap are about 27 seconds behind, so they've got to watch with keen interest to see what happens in the box.
Watson goes in, yep. So Rorschach is losing time. We're losing our voices from this race. It's still up 12 out of 26. Oh, and so we still got this race and still the second race left to go. But Watson now calls into the pits. Lopez will as well, and that is Carnazaz as well for Gallery 82 all in, and they're all going to look for a change of a compound. So we'll see how this comes in relative to Scott Flack. We'll see where he'll be able to come out on top. I can't see him. There he is in P19 at the moment.
Yeah, here he comes.
We'll see if the delta here comes. Watson is the one that exits out through the pits first. It's going to be quite close for Flack. So Maury Watson was in for P3, so Flack is trying to race him, but Flack has, Watson has kind of effectively stayed in the position that they are, so everyone's kind of relatively in the places that they were, I think. I don't think anyone has jumped another, although I think... No, I'm wrong.
That's okay. Well, look at Oakenhag here in the Scuderia Cap Clay. He's right behind his teammate, and that wasn't a factor at all. So this undercut has been magical for Oakenhag, right behind his teammate, and that will give Scuderia Cap Clay a real platform to go for the attack now with Oakenhag. He will, of course, have to back off towards the end when his tyres start to burn up before everyone else's. But yeah, this is fabulous opportunities. These are fabulous opportunities coming for Cap Clay if they can keep this very encouraging work up.
Yep, and they can work each other off as well, which is also a big beneficiary to it. The thing is, Magnus has went into the pits earlier than Lopez has, so he needs to be a little bit more conservative in his tyres towards the later stages of the race. But I think if the Norwegian can do it, then Cap Clay could be looking out for a big advantage here. Amari Watson, and that was Carnazaz exchanging positions. So Carnazaz has jumped Watson before 130R, and Watson's going to try his best to respond, but has to worry about Thailand though, as that is Mayer and Kozowski going side by side through the Casio triangle. Mayer with the around the outside for the first corner of that chicane, and Van Surst and Soriano both go into the pits now, and Kozowski and oh boy, they're gonna have the DRS now, and Kozowski's holding into the inside as much as he possibly can. But great defense there by Mayer as he just swings around for the outside to cut him off, and that's allowed for Kozowski to be under pressure from the Clays as a result.
Yeah, and Jason Muscat, the Multiforce team boss of the departed champions, has spotted that Oakenhag has another set of soft tyres on his Cap Clay, and a spin Wide goes
Oh my
Mir,
word!
and then
Oh my
into
God!
the wall. Lopez has crashed it, spooked by the sight of Mir spinning. I was going to complete Jason's point there that Auchenhag has to pit again to obey the 2 compounds rule in the feature race here. So a huge moment at a corner. We didn't really anticipate it happening. It's the Dunlop curve that has caused absolute bedlam here. 2 cars in real trouble. So we'll hopefully catch a glimpse of that later on. Now,
No.
Mayer may have been able to stop himself before his race was destroyed, but Lopez is gone. He was unable to rescue that spin, and he hits the barrier very heavily.
Oh, that's so unfortunate for Clark Clay, because now Auchenhag is completely on his own in his quest to make his way up for the battle, but also Lopez is on a really good strategy and made up a great amount of places too, but unfortunately he'll be our 3rd retirement here, and well, Laho will still lead from Rorschach, Gonzalez, Green, Butcher, Corolla, and Bill, Golka, Flack, Karzaz, and Watson. Still people yet to pit though. Flack though right down to the outside. Pass through the Gallery 82 driver, and that would be a little bit of a slide there by Galka, but he manages to keep hold of it and lets his teammate on past to keep the fight between Karzaz and Flack on going.
That's a vital moment there for Flack to get the faith back into his car to make that overtake into the first corner and realize that Karzaz is a contender here for a big result here for Gallery 82. So to get that job done after that mistake in the earlier stint will give him confidence again to go for it. But Murray Watson, he knows he's 2nd in the championship at the moment. He's got to keep pushing, and the fact that Galka in the 2nd Gallery 82 will have motivation just to be a nuisance here. So Mikhail Galka will not play nice with Amari, so this will be a bit of a shock to the system here, as he's going to lose all that time to Damien Karzaz, and that will be a tough pill to swallow for Amari, but making sure he's watching and waiting for Tylene, who may catch him up. But now here's Alex Lahoo in the pits, Amir.
Yep, and Rorschach is as well. So we're going to see where they're going to be out. So Laho has been, again, trying to chase that lead back, but he can very well much do in the pits. Gonzalez, Green, and Butcher will take it through, but Scott Flack was one of the first people to head into the pits. So this is who Laho's going to be fighting for. Bit of an exchange of position of the teammates, as Corolla's the one that jumps Laho, but Corolla still yet to pit. Rorschach in the midst of this 3-round battle. Scott Flack swings round for the outside.
Oh.
Can Karzaz do it too? Oh my goodness, made a little bit of contact here between Flack and Rorschach. Karzaz has gone wide. Rorschach holds around for the outside for the S's, and he holds on to P6.
Just stunning stuff here, and there's still time to go. Alex Gonzalez Green, and the longer stint here will give B or T a shot at the race lead ever so briefly, but 3-4 for Hugh at the moment. So Corolla is back in command of the 2nd Hugh performance car. So now the job is to have Cedric Bill in the sole remaining Excellion provide a bit of a distraction now from Patrick. So let's look at this battle. If it can continue beyond the spoon curve, I will be impressed. Yeah, Patrick has to slot in, so this is absolutely perfect for Lahoo, who went longer on those soft tyres and gives himself that boost. He's got clear air, and he'll catch up to the Alpha Sierra very soon, unless he pits this lap. About time for the hard tyres to start coming in. Rorschach still stuck behind here. Amir and Cedric Bill will hopefully give him a fair fight if he doesn't want to pit. So there we go, the top 2 have pitted, and he does indeed come into the pit. So Rorschach is free. Flack and Karzaz are coming down the hill for a huge battle right now. Let's see how it goes, Amir.
Yep, absolutely. People going to exit for the pits though, but Karzaz swings to the inside of Scott Flack though, and yeah, that's the tyre advantage I think coming in hand for Damien as he punches himself up into 4th, which will be 3rd, with Corolla still have yet to make the pit stop though. So Rorschach and Damien will just have Jonas to go through, and a good chance for the Team Hugh driver to kind of give Laho a bigger gap than what he already has. I think Laho's played his strategy quite perfectly here, but a chance to push it even more is the Estonian Ken really massively help the Frenchman here. So we'll see how much it does, but he doesn't have to fight them too much because again he's got his own strategy, and again the gap is just so wide with 10 laps to go. It's already 4.4 seconds, and here we go. That's around to the outside. Rorschach is, and he gets himself finally second place, and Jonas will have Damien and Scott to worry about.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. There's plenty more concerns to keep in mind. So yeah, it's a fabulous battle so far. I hope all the chat is enjoying it. 53 viewers for this first race, and there's plenty of points still to be won here. So Cardaz is going to be distracted here by Coralla, but is he going to just vault around the outside? Yes, he will, and that will penalise Coralla just a little bit more. He has to stay very much clear, but Lahu sets a 1:35.0 fastest lap, so just shy of our ideal qualifying pace as the fuel starts to burn off now. And there we go. Coralla will exit the top 15 to get his service, but he'll push on as best he can to try and get something back. And now Tylene in P6 just behind Auchenhag, but yeah, if Auchenhag has failed to obey the 2 compound rule, then yeah, this P5 is not going to last very long. So yeah, there's a look at our tire compound choices. So Gonzalez Green is the highest placed driver on the softs. Who did start on the hard. So Lahu, I hope that's the case there with the softs, and Rorschach as well. So unusual to be thinking about a 2-stopper if it is valid, but there we go. Let's see. So yeah, Cardaz not in the pits yet. So maybe I know that would be a mistake. So yeah, never mind. Yeah, Auchenhag is the one to watch here. He's playing interesting strategy here if he meant it, or else it's a mistake and he has to rectify it before the checkered flag.
Yeah, I think that would be the whole thing about the pits. I think he did pit on lap 7, so yeah, that's I think that might be a little bit of a timing issue on R Factor 2, but that's still, nonetheless, Loho has got a very, very good lead, 5.5 seconds, and can very much well control that for the duration of the race. And in fact, we have seen it before in Albert Park where he has pushed a little bit away, but the fights are not overdone yet, though. Auchenhag and Thailand are going to be under a bit of pressure from one another, so it's going to be a bit of a Scandinavian fight. Could see Kozowski and Watson join in as Auchenhag, well, bites in and comes into the pits to make his first ever pit stop. He's the sole clay now, so he's going to hope to try and get something into the points at least, but I think he'll drop out of it because he's I think he's pit quite late in my opinion, but still
yeah,
a chance
it's the second stop there, Amir, just for the
it's the second one, yeah.
2 compounds, I should say. So yeah, hopefully he can make up for that, whether it be a deliberate choice or an accident. So it means Jack Mayer, after that spin, is back in the points. He'll have 1 point for his troubles. He's about a second behind Wesley Stefano at the moment. But Scott Flack, he wants to get back on that podium after being a race leader in the staggering first stint that we enjoyed. And he has to keep working very hard to keep his delta close to Damien Cardaz's. So there we go. Yellow flag in Sector 2 goes away as quickly as we saw it, but could be Wopke Hoekstra's lost 2 places in the last 30 seconds or so, and Auchenhag has retired, so it's a double DNF when Cap Clay looked like they were onto something very interesting indeed. So Magnus does not want to continue the race after the tire compound issue, and Wopke Hoekstra, I just noticed, has fallen from 17th to 19th.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate there from Clark Clay though, but tension up ahead between Watson and Kozowski. We're going to see what will happen in this fight here. Watson has done, I think, pretty decently so far, with Mera having the scare coming into the first sector, almost like his race was done. But Watson has done his best to keep the challenge and keep the points whole for Potentia as he swings through the outside onto turn 1. And that will be it for the Englishman as he gets himself up into P6. A great overtake. We've seen a lot of great overtakes into turn 1, I must say. Everyone has got their own, different ways of trying to overtake the driver. Some people go the outside, some people go the inside. And it's still always so spectacular to watch just how much that they gap them past the overtake. As you can see the gap here, it's already 5/10 Watson and Kozowski.
Yeah, Watson and Kozowski still ready to play their part in this race. We can now view the Englishman's camera here. He's looking on from that P6 behind Tylene, and now through turn 12 they go. Spectacular flat out corner nowadays. Down the hill they go. Yeah, definitely Frank Hamming. We haven't seen much of him. He's still pretty confident he can get a solid amount of points here. And Amir has seen something. What was it?
Thailand has gone sideways on the exit as Spoons. That's allowed for Watson to get such a close grab. In fact, he's going to try and attempt it for 130 or at least break the toe so that he is sure that he can make it for the DRS. Actually, he's going to try and make sure he has the DRS zone, a detection zone, and through to the Casio Triangle he'll go. And Thailand is really the back foot here. Watson, a really good opportunity to get the top 5 here on.
Yes, this will be another incredible result here for Watson, an FS1 veteran dating back to the 2023 season, and this time was not his time, but he still got enough in the tank, I'm sure, to give this a real effort now. So pushing and pushing to make sure he can get the best possible result here. Guzowski himself there, the Emerald Hummingbirds team are looking like the best duo at the moment, whereas all the other drivers have
Hoekstra
got the best single car work at the moment. So Wopke Hoekstra is going way down the order now. He's outside the top 20 now, and that will cost him quite dearly. If he's able to carry on, that is at least a crumb of comfort. But yeah, Hoekstra is well out of contention now behind Kerala, who we saw go very, very long in his first stint.
Yeah, it's I think that's the second time we've seen Hoekstra kind of dropped off a bit. That's Clont and Gonzalez Green, I think, that was going side by side up at the entrance through the Spoon. And Clont still defends a little bit for the time being, but we'll see if the fight will continue on. Still about 6 laps left to go, and Laho has still managed to keep his gap fairly healthily. As Alex and Menno gonna go on through. Is that going to be side by side through to 130 yard? It is, and Alex makes his way past Menno Clont to take to P9 in what has been the greatest overtake. Pretty unfortunate there for the camera work, but still massive overtake there by Alex. It's just a shame that the camera presets for R Factor 2 just happened to pick that one for 130R.
Oh yeah, how unfortunate. But Lorenzo Atarovich Funchit should be watching with grin on his face there to see Alex thriving in his second season driving in the FS1 category. So yeah, P9 for Boddle will be very much on target. I know we had a chat with Lorenzo to begin our interviews for 2026, and yeah, he has shown the grit he needs to show this team where they can reach in this season, and yeah, no doubt about it, Gonzalez Green is listening very intently to his boss to make sure he can unleash the best of his talent. And Van den Hudding is going to climb up to 16th there as Ren Van Stus just tumbled down. Yeah, Raymond is in real trouble, so Emma's Performance are going to drop some of their points.
Whoa.
Oh, he's facing sideways. My word. He cannot move an inch here. It's a very dangerous part of the track. Oh, goodness. Hopefully his chance will eventually arrive. Yes, he's all the way down to the very back behind Korshav, and even so, yeah, the Dunlop curve is very, very quick, so he is right not to move an inch there until it was completely safe to do so. And there's Chris Butcher. He has been using that experience to climb up the grid. He has now earned a P12 with 5 laps remaining. This is a great chance for Alpha Sierra to get their points tally boosted.
Whoa!
And look at this now. Gonzalez Green on the high side of the final corner under pressure after overtaking Guzowski there. So he's made up another place, but he's not done yet here, Amir. He's got to watch out for the inside counter, and he has.
Yeah, I think that was Oliver as well further behind that made the overtake on Menno Clont for P10. So Clont has kind of dropped down the order, as you were saying previously about Van Sust. It's fortunately spun out that way, but also that area of the track is so there's not a lot of grass runoff. So whenever you spin off there, again, you're just half on the grass and then half on the track. So and again, you're right, Van Sust did the right thing and couldn't really move safely, so he just had to stay there, not move until everyone has gone past. But again, that unfortunately meant that he dropped down from a very impressive top 10 for him to now last effectively, which is such a shame for him.
Oh, I totally agree with you there. It's so sad to witness that, but he has a chance in race 2 to make up for the great disappointment. And of course, we have seen chaotic race 2s down the years, and definitely the freedom to pick whatever compound you want will definitely liven things up a bit. So we're less than 5 laps to go now, and Lahou's lead has ballooned up to nearly 7 seconds. Rorschach himself is another 5 seconds clear. Oh no!
Oh my word!
That's a massive shunt.
Oh my word!
He's still pending.
Oh my word!
He's still facing forwards here, Mateusz Kozowski, but he'll have to pit for repair straight away, and that will mean Van den Hudding has a point for his cameo appearance here, taking Louis Hartley's spot for this race. So that's an enormous shunt there. Look at this replay. Oh, he's done incredibly to at least keep the car pointing forwards. That was absolutely terrifying for Mateusz. And that would have been, thankfully, he's already kind of loose there. So the car just snapped. Really strange moment there. We are
if he was a few kilometers faster, then he would have lost his rear wheel. So the fact that he was just ever so slightly that kilometer slower and kind of broke up, that was Hamming just losing a bit through turn 9, but does recover. But wow, that's so unfortunate there. Again, just Kozowski was just a few kilometers away from losing his rear wheel, and that would have been his race over and done with. But the fact that he could still go to the pits and make repairs means that it's very good that he can still continue to race. So, wow, that was such a tank slap and a half. Luckily, we got the replays working, so we were able to see what had happened. So, big thanks over to Fabian Jungbluth for all the troubleshooting that he has done. Big thanks.
Here. So, we were a bit confused as to how that could have happened, but we will not be confused because we're at lap 24 now for race leader Lahou, and Gonzalez Green here has really proven to be a master of this late game strategy. He's going to be in the three-way draft here. Oh, kicking up some of the grass and around the outside. Watson having a little peek there at Tylene, but it was not quite suitable for the overtake. But now Gonzalez Green going from the hard tires onto the softs has proven a master stroke here, and he's just giving Watson everything to think about right now, and this will be a heck of a dilemma for Watson. He knows his teammate Mayer had the spin at this very corner earlier in the race. He's recovered to 14th there, has Jack Mayer, but Watson needs to deliver these points for Potencia and make sure there is a chance of a reverse grid draw, pole position, or even a front row, depending on what number is selected at random. But Gonzalez Green again here, Amir. He's pointing that front wing in intimidating places, and perhaps the start finish straight beckons for our American driver. He's so close with these soft tires and the overtake. He's got to plot it with 2 to go at the line, but I think it's very, very possible for him. Gonzalez Green finishing 5th back at Albert Park has got a chance to repeat it here again, but he's just got Watson and Tylene in the midst on his path from that. Watson has done finished 6th as well in race 1, and he's got a chance for a best 5th as well, as he just needs to overtake Tylene, who's they're all going to go through the Casio triangle altogether. Gonzalez Green a little bit of a tank slapper on the exit, but will still be pretty fine. Both Watson and Gonzalez Green will have the DRS. Tyler will not. So the Swede effectively on his own. He's immediately going to try and go defensive. Holds up to the inside line. Going to keep applying the pressure to Watson side by side through turn 2. Is Gonzalez Green going to be a beneficiary? No, he will not. And they're going to be single file for the S's. So close, but Tyler really well defended. Means that Watson has to try again. He will have a final set of opportunities to come before the last lap is declared, meaning that Alex Lahou is on course to win the first 2 feature races of the season. Watson really pushing that entry curb into Degner 1 to its limits there. And Frank Hamming is in the background ready to pick up any pieces that fall his way here. He loves to race, does Frank, and now he has a chance to see how other drivers in front of him can produce a battle or not. So Thailand P5 at the moment. He's under the most pressure of anybody in the high side here. Maybe Scott Fleck just a second behind. Cardas could still play his part, but yeah, this is it for Gonzalez Green to benefit from these soft tires. He's got to go for it now, basically into the Casio triangle, because that slipstream and DRS, courtesy of Thailand being just in front, will help out the Englishman so much. And here he goes to the outside line, braking very late. And the number 63, he's got to go full blast now. No, it's the undulation of the corner denying him just for the moment, Amir, but can he do it on the braking?
Side by side, it's allowed Thailand to have a bit of a breakdown, but Watson and Gonzalez Green both having the DRS. Green will have the slipstream though, and that will facilitate helping around, and Watson spins round. They both make contact. Watson is the one that comes up first though through turn 2 and hits the wall. That's a lot for Harmon to get up to 7th, and Watson drops all the way outside of the top 10. And unfortunate there for potential Grand Prix as they, once again, Watson suffers.
Yeah, racing incident in my estimation there. Could obviously be wrong. We'll have a reviewed, of course, by the stewards in the post-race. We had so unlucky there for Amari. Did nothing wrong, defended the inside line. But yeah, just the rear right tire of Alex's was clipped there, and that just sent the Potentia wide. And yeah, it's just so difficult in a double apex corner to avoid contact there, but it has cost Amari most of all. But we're now ready to race our winner for the second time in this 2026 campaign. Alex Lahoo and Team Hugh Performance are going to pop some more champagne in celebration as Alex Lahoo crosses the line. The era of misery is well and truly over. Alex just celebrates in a dominant fashion here. Patrick Roshak has to settle for second right now. Great drive though from Patrick, doing his level best to keep up with Lahoo. But there we go. The new villain of the series has done it again.
It's considering that he did all this with I think he initially made I did have a look, and it was through the Dunlop curve he made a mistake that he lost down to the top 3. So the fact that he's managed to recover like this and battled almost with everyone, and then post strategies he was just effectively in no man's land, and what a way to do that. Cardas, I think, just playfully pushing Rushak out of the track. But yeah, these two had a bit of a nice fight. It's a Polish 2-3, and Emerald Hummingbird get their first podium under their new name. Gallery 82 also their first podium in their FS1 journey for 2026. But Alex Lahoo has continued to put Team Hugh Performance into the winner's circle once again, and a great way for it to do it, I think, in absolute style.
Yeah, so credit there from our top two drivers, saluting each other in sporting respect there. So Lahoo is going to burn those remaining tires to their canvas. He's so pleased. Yeah, he's going to do a 360 spin in motion there out of the Degners. So here's a look at our classification. Lahoo, Roshak and Cardas complete a very fascinating podium. So congratulations to all those teams for securing those trophies for themselves. Scott Flack dreamt of a win, but alas, he'll have to try again in race 2 from P4. Lucas Thailand, Alex Gonzalez Green, 5th and 6th there. Frank Hamming settles into a solid P7. Chris Butcher does more than just pick up a top 10. It's a P8. So absolutely remarkable work there from Butcher from his P16 qualifying spot. Oliver Hargatai and Menno Klunt are the top 10 finishers. Amari Watson with that contact with Gonzalez Green fell to 11th place, but that's still pretty reasonable, all things considered, with Wes Stefano getting MS Performance some points in 12th. Massimiliano Roboli in the second overpower just got on with his job for the day, finishing P13 ahead of Jack Mayer. Had that terrifying spin, but he did manage to catch it in time. Ruben van den Hudding has gotten Bodil even more points there for his cameo appearance in P15. Michael Galka, Christian Malsharek, Cedric Bill, Pablo Serrano and Emilio Gacciella complete our top 20. And now the final 5 finishers were Jonas Korala, Wopke Hoekstra, Dominic Korshaven, Philip Koenig and Raymond van Sust. The 5 drivers that could not make it to the finish were Matthias Kozowski, so unlucky with that terrifying 130R incident. Magnus Okenhag making a mistake with his tire strategy. Junio Lopez in that same moment with Jack Mayer had a huge crash exiting the race after that. Alexander Ragoza and Ramco Dazeu well down the order there. They did not get to set many laps at all, but they'll try again in race 2, Amir. So what did you think of that?
Great race, honestly. Absolutely hectic. I think it was quite unclear cut how the race was going to develop, but my word, that was pretty entertaining and a little bit sad in some cases than others. But yeah, Suzuka provided a very exciting race 1, and if anything, it's going to make race 2 all the more interesting as we get ready for the sprint race.
Yeah, let's take a quick break. Get yourselves refreshed and ready to go for the sprint race and the reverse grid draw. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Inside a place of on the next pretzels. Kelty seat, the coffee beanery, Tyrek.
Flat out. Oh no! Oh no! Who's round? It's Magnussen. Oh, it's going to be touch moment. It's in the barrier. Oh, they spun. Oh, this is a carnage.
And Menokop's gonna win.
It's a double pass. Could they take each other off? They don't. And Flack slide. It's a victory for the Tuties.
They touch. They're now. Oh no!
Soriano's gone around and met the wall. Mitchell will go through. Does it go uphill into turn 4? Oh, round the outside. What a fabulous move.
Frelick will use all of his as well. Here he comes. He makes a move. They touch. They run wide. And Munio's going to get it. We're going 3 wide. Look at
Sing.
contact. Oh, my goodness. The Tyne has lost a wheel.
Time's out.
The dramatic race that we were teeing up the entire time has come to an end.
And you are most welcome back to Suzuka viewers. It's myself, Eoin, Harmon, and Amir Oates is beside me here in the broadcast booth. So, Amir, you've been very, very eager to hear who the reverse grid draw has produced. So let's hear it from yourself.
No, I can't drum roll on this. I can maybe do that, but I can't really drum roll.
I'll do it for you.
Number 8, Chris. Chris Butcher, PH, he is on pole position for race number 2, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how well that he can do. Again, it's still, I think this is the first time ever that he has started on reverse pole position in probably a very long time. So it's going to be interesting to see how he'll fare and compared to yesteryears in the last time that he was here in FS1, because again, he's done actually pretty well to recover that in his return to FS1. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see how it pans out.
I've just been asked in the YouTube chat to provide predictions for the winner of this second race. I suppose certainly there's a great chance for Rorschach, in my opinion, to push on and really go for it here. So I'll give Patrick his due, knowing how close he was in race 1 for a while before Lahu pulled away. So I'll back Patrick to win this race too.
I think. That's honestly a pretty good one. I think Lahu could do pretty good, but I think it's because he did pretty good back at Albert Park, but he's going to find it a little bit harder, I think, in my opinion, to get past drivers in Suzuka than he will be in Albert Park, but he will definitely, by damnedest, give it his best shot. And I'm sure from what you and Edward have commentated on last time at Albert Park, watching him trying to pass through the field was quite mesmerizing to say the least. And I think we can expect to see that same sort of effort from him again today.
Thanks very much, Juho, there for asking us for those predictions. And I'm sure Jason Muscat has come up again to predict that Chris Butcher can hold on to this reverse grid Paul and go on to clinch victory. So he's got a very good shot at it, he says. So let's see if that comes to pass. So yeah, definitely with the second warm-up session coming to a conclusion, we will hopefully build up to this sprint race. An 18-lap affair should open things up for more on-track action. And yeah, there is a debate about the pronunciation of Lahu or Laho. It's not 100% verified, but I have been saying Laho a little bit, but I tend to go for Lahu. That's in my pronunciation guide from 2023, so I still trust it's reasonably correct. So hopefully we will verify that once and for all, what is Alex's correct pronunciation.
It's a bit like Vettel and Vettel. So
Yeah.
previously got pronunciations wrong back then, but no, it is. I believe it is Lahu. But if he comes over for the interview, then I think that'll be one of our most burning questions aside from his race 1 win.
Yeah, of course, and that's it. Yeah, let's start the assembly and get race 2 underway. So time for a little presentation, and we'll join ourselves for the formation lap of race 2. And lo and behold, we're starting to get our grid formed now, which will invite Chris Butcher to lead us along to the starting grid, making sure temperatures and other setup elements are present and correct for all of our drivers. So that will allow us to get rolling here. So lovely timing. Let's get this formation lap very much prepared. Chris Butcher is on the pole position. Frank Hamming alongside him, benefiting nicely from that draw. Alex Gonzalez-Green and Lucas Tylene on the second row, 3rd and 4th. Scott Flack and Damien Cardes 5th and 6th. And then Patrick Roshak, my tip to win, is 7th. And Alex Laho is P8. So he has to work all the way to try and win again from P8. Oliver Hargitay and Menno Klontz, a little bit unfortunate not to benefit from that draw, but Amari Watson and Wesley Stefano are very quick as well, so watch out for them. Massimiliano Roboli and Jack Mayer on the 7th row. A lot of experience between those two. Then Ruben van den Hudding, very pleased with himself there in P15. And unfortunately missed P16 there, but we'll catch it up in a sec. So Malsharek, Bill, Serrano and Gacella are the top 20, 17th through 20th. Jonas Korala, Wopke Hoekstra together 21st and 22nd. Dominic Korshavin and Philip Koenig 23rd and 24th. As Michael Galka in 16th place. My apologies there. Ren van Soest, Matthias Kozowski, and then the Scuderia Cap Clay pair in a disappointing 27th and 28th after a double DNF. Alexander Rogoza and Remco De Zeu complete our 30-car grid. So Remco will hope he can round off his Excellion debut with a race to the checkered flag. So best of luck to all 30 drivers, of course. They're all prepared and set for the second race here at round 2 of 16 in the Formula Sprint 1 Championship. So we've made our predictions, but it's going to be tough for whoever can get this race 2 victory. We'll find out in about half an hour's time. And there we go, final preparations underway here for Chris Butcher in the Alfa Sierra team that were highlighted in the thumbnail. So a little bit of thumbnail look here for the veteran Englishman here as he hopes to pull off a stunning victory for Alfa Sierra Racing.
Yep, and again, pretty much in good contention for that. Frank Hamming as well has done pretty well in the start in Albert Park, and the fact that he's joined alongside Butcher in the front row means that he's going to be Butcher's most fiercest rival, I think. But also keep in mind for Gonzalez Green and Thailand as well, who did very well in the midfield, would be eyeing for their first wins this season as well. Bodal to try and clinch their first as well in their GPVWC career. So that's all available in the cards. And yeah, again, just lots of expectations. And none of us know really for certain for what could happen here for the 18 laps here at Suzuka.
Yeah, so the lights will get us underway in just a moment's time. And let's see how our front 5 or 6 drivers can get on to see if they can stop the first and second drivers in the race 1 from taking another superb result. So here come the lights. And we'll get ready to go. And there we are. Let's begin the race. Oh, great start here for Gonzalez Green. He's completely jumped. Chris Butcher's fallen way back. So Alex Gonzalez Green into the lead. Tylene and Hamming caught by surprise as well. But they'll go neck and neck through turns 2 into the S's. Lahu has blocked Butcher successfully there. So on we go for the S's now. And a spectacular start for Gonzalez Green.
Oh my goodness. That's so close, but Gonzalez Green had an impressive start. He's managed to get up into the lead. Thailand falls through second. Hamming has dropped off as well. And look at this, it's all kind of pandemonium here in relation to race 1, as everyone is bustling for positions. I'm surprised how bad of a start Butcher has got, because from first all the way down to 8th is not very good, and he might continue to fall as Garatai looks over for, as there's the 2 potential cars exchanging positions. Watson and Mayer up into 9th, trying to pressure over from Oliver. Still going to be going side by side, so close.
Yeah, of course. So Jack now has a chance to go head to head with his teammate again now after his race 1 crash. So behind Hargatai right now, a very interesting proposition for the 2023 FS1 champion, going up the hill towards 130. Or this is going to be a deep breath sort of moment here. Can he pull it around the outside? Not yet, but yeah, he's got a good launch into the Casio triangle now, but they'll remain deadlocked for the time being. Good defense from Oliver, but eventually the power of the Potentia will tell. But Gonzalez Green completes lap 1 as the race leader. Tylene, Hamming, Flack and Card as the top 5. Roshak. And now Butcher's going for a move on Lahu. Very good here from Butcher to keep himself in full belief here. Overtaking, or making an overtaking attempt on the championship leader. Bit of contact. Oh, superb stability there for the Alpha Sierra Sim Racing car. And Jack Mayer is going to wind back the clock, trying to go on the high side before the Dunlop curve. This would be absolutely remarkable if you can make this work. But they stay on a sixpence here. I cannot tell what's going to happen here, but the Degners could help Lahu out here. Good blocking in the end from the championship leader.
Fantastic there from Lahu. The 2 titans in FS1. Mayer and Lahu really going side by side, wheel to wheel. It won't be the last time that we see these 2 being in that fight for the season, but my word, that was so close. And Lahu with a sheer commitment coming through Digner. That is the full belief that you have control of your car, and the fact that he didn't go off on the curb on the exit of Dagner just shows how good Lahu has been. But yeah, Lahu and Butcher exchanged positions about a lap prior. Is a little bit of a surprise, so Lahu couldn't keep it behind him a bit for the time being. But here we go, Frank Camerawork has got Flack in a battle for the podium place here.
Yeah, vital stuff here. Both drivers will have initiative to keep pushing here. Regular point scorers, of course. They just want to keep the points ticking over here, and the podium will help them towards that. Jack Mayer is going to give Lahu another bit of a headache here. Gonzalez Green pulling over second clear with the new fastest lap. Mayer to the inside near the pit wall. He's not going to back down for anything here. Almost wheel to wheel. Mayer not able to get the momentum into turn 1, but now Butcher slid. Butcher slid wide, and Mayer gains 2 places in quick succession. So Butcher having a bit of a tough time with these harder compound tires since the getaway went badly wrong on him. But now he has at least rescued it. So P9 for Butcher, but he's let 2 of the big names through.
And a big domino effect as well. I had Lahu seeing that Chris spun, had to take a big precaution and let off the throttle a little bit. Otherwise, the battle between Mayer and Lahu could have gone a little bit more. So Lahu is kind of a little bit upset about that, but he's still got a little bit of time ahead of him to try and make the pass again. I think I was seeing just someone drop off with a brief yellow flag in one of the sectors.
Yeah, I'm afraid I couldn't tell who it was, but Lopez is out.
Lopez.
So double DNF for Lopez. That's a very heartbreaking outcome for Junio, who was one of the highlights of race 1 in Albert Park, but tonight has not gone well for the Portuguese, and he will have to regroup in 2 weeks' time. So great shame there, but nevertheless we'll keep working hard for the remainder of the season. So that's what I was talking about in the build-up. If round 1 didn't go according to your wishes, you still have time, and of course the same applies right now with Bahrain on April 2nd. That will be now his priority to make sure he's ready for that. And now Cardaz has made it past Scott Flack.
A very easy overtake from Cardaz. Definitely the help of the DRS facilitating the Gallery 82 driver. And I must say, Damien has had a really good showing in Suzuka thus far, and never seems to be out of the top 5 whatsoever, and it's a really, really good show from him.
Yeah, this is most impressive here for Gallery 82. Hoping for a double podium after all said and done. Scott Flack is going to keep him very honest though, and there's still nothing to separate the drivers just off the podium here. Lahu will have to stabilise his tyres now, try and get back down to the 0.7 of a second DRS activation point. Yellow flag is persistent at the moment. We may not find out what it was for until a minute or so. We will double check, of course. Through Spoon they go, and Van den Hooding looking to double his score from 1 point to 2 against Wesley Stefano. That'll be an interesting dynamic here for Bottle, who are leading the race, of course, with Gonzalez Green nearly 2 seconds clear in the lead. But if Ruben can also collect another point for his cameo appearance, and that will be a real success for Lorenzo Terovic-Funcic. But now Magnus Okenhag and Emmanuel Gaziella earning our interest there in quick succession. Good defense though from Korshavn.
Yeah, amazing there. Look at this battle though between Rushak. Swings himself against Jack Mayer. Jack Mayer has been managing to join up a bit on this battle here for P5, and it's just at the rear end of it. But yeah, Mayer's done quite a lot to gap between himself and Lahoa a bit for the time being, but overtaking Rushak is no easy task, and that's what Mayer has caught himself up into. But if he doesn't make the overtake soon, then he can find himself on the back of Lahoa again, and we can see these two battling once again. Oh my word!
Wide for Damien! Wide for Damien, and that car's not going to rescue itself in time. He's just going to crawl through the gravel trap all the way down to probably 16th, 17th maybe. Oh, how devastating that is for Damien. So sad. But yeah, he's going to wait for everybody to come through. Or is he out of the race? I think he's gone. Yeah, the front wing is busted, and that's a no score for Damien Cardaz here. How devastating that is. Cardaz, I should say. How devastating. Yeah, he just couldn't bring that car further into the race after hitting the barrier into Degner. You can see the gravel trap.
One wheel.
Yeah, it's a heavy hit.
It's just two wheels.
Destroyed.
It's two wheels and that's it. And that's the thing. Like, once you have the two wheels too much beyond the curb into Degner, it's practically unsavable. You can try maybe spin yourself back up to the racing surface as Rushak goes sideways but recovers. But yeah, if you're two wheels on, you can maybe go back onto the track. But consider the fact that this car's there, it's really hard to control your car. Like in that situation, look at that Rushak and Mayer swapping positions. Scott Flack under pressure there from Rushak. Rushak down to the inside, makes it 3-1 on the exit. 2. Mayer makes an overtake past Scott Flack. What an immense battle that was. But Rushak up into P4, Mayer in the 5th, Flack down 2 places.
Goodness gracious, exceptional driving from those three to have the respect, but at the same time the ferocity to make sure that was a thrilling battle that has big consequences for this sprint race. Lahu still waiting for his opportunity, but excellent work there from Rushak to go down the inside of Flack, and Flack realised that Mayer was coming, so he respected his space as well, making sure he didn't lunge in to go behind Rushak. So great driving from those trio, or that trio. And poor old Scott will have to pick himself up and try again and make sure that Lahoo is unbothered here. They'll just have to keep him behind and see how it fares. But yeah, no doubt about it. Alex Gonzalez green on those soft tires. He'll have to think about conservation very soon, as of course the pit stop window was lap 9 to about 13 for soft tire users in the race 1 scenario. So having to back off in this 18 lap race, he's going to have to think about it very soon.
Mayer also, from what we have heard, is also on the softs as well, which kind of explains how he's making those aggressive overtakes up against people ahead. And there you go, Bill, Aukenhag, Ragoza, and Deseo as well. Rorschach pressuring from Mayer. Mayer swings his way around for the outside. He's on limited time with those tires in comparison to the hard runners, so that's why he's going to try and make as much use of them as he possibly can by making aggressive overtakes, and hopes that he can defend as the race goes on.
And indeed, Cedric Bill is also using the softs for Excellion here to make sure that he can impress for Excellion here in their next attempt to get some points. So Cedric, of course, was at Albert Park 2 weeks ago with Juho Stoppinen, who stepped in Remco's place. So he has that little bit of experience now in the FS1 machinery, and he's doing quite well for himself, but he has to start behaving on those soft tires now to make sure they will work out, or else he will pit and try and regain all that time, nearly 30 seconds, of course, from pit entry all the way to pit exit. Mayer is now willing to get himself back onto an FS1 podium after challenging for Super League honours. Of course, he's wanted to go all the way to the very top, but now he's back in FS1 after going 2022 as the FS2 champion into 2023, where he won with TOP and did the double, just like the Mateusz Majka did. Of course, he went into the FS2 and FS1 double. So very, very impressive prestige we have left behind and brought back at the same time here in FS1. So Mayer always coming, but Lahoo as well. Side-by-side action for third and for fifth positions. And Tylene defends himself, and so does Rorschach. Brilliant work there.
Yeah, Lahoo sideways couldn't keep the pressure on to Rorschach, so we'll try again. Tylene, though, brilliantly defended from Mayer from his aggressiveness into turn 1. I'm not sure if that will be the sign that Mayer's softs are already weakening already, but it's maybe a bit of a concern for Mayer that he didn't make the overtake around in one go. The fact that he has to try again means that, again, it's just more life and more pressure added to the soft tires that he has compared to the hard runners.
Yeah, just that little bit of extra rubber that will play its part later in the stint if he is on the hard. Well, the fact that he is on the hard tires will allow him to push towards the end. There was a little switch of position there, might have been. See, yeah, it's Aukenhag. Yeah, Aukenhag has overtaken Stefano for 14th in the Cap Clay. So Magnus will hope to make sure that it's not going to be a zero score day for Cap Clay. So they're going to keep pushing to make sure they don't feel the exceptional disappointment. So the Finnish team will still be optimistic. But Jack Mayer into the Castro Triangle, maybe. No, he decides against it. And there was another switch of positions there. I think Rorschach is down a position. Yeah, Alex Lahoo is up. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great overtake. A bit of a dive bomb there by Lahoo. Catches his bluff. Jack Mayer going to go once again on time. This time he does make it stick and will cement it. That's Mayer up into the podium places. And Tylene, as a result, loses out, but still, with the great battle that he's had, could be beneficial for him in the long run if Mayer continues to push on these softs as he can. But Mayer's going to hope to try and use those tires that he has to catch up to Hamming and Gonzalez. The problem is it's about a 1.1 gap and we're about halfway through the race. And as you said before, the softs will drop off very, very soon in just a matter of laps.
Yeah, that's the approximation, but of course, lighter fuel loads will play its little bit of a differentiation into this race. And Oliver Hargatai gets the new fastest lap there, 1:35.6. So nicely played there by the number 5 driver from Hungary. So yeah, keep up the good work there, Oliver. You probably would have gone into the pits for a new set of tires. I didn't unfortunately spot that But yeah, he's looking pretty good now in the other KKR car, with Tylene leading the way for his team so far. But yeah, Alex Lahu now in the top 5, ahead of Roadshak and Flack. He will judge the situation against Lucas very closely. He should know him pretty well throughout the fact that he would have seen races from Lucas on stream, I'm sure, down the years. Yellow flag in sector 2 might have been Jella, or it's Stefan, or yeah, we'll double check that one again for you. So moving along, it's not going to be an overtake this lap. The top 3, 4 and 5 cars stay single file. So yeah, Serrano I think may have made that little mistake, but what matters is just to make sure this battle for the lead remains highly contested here. So Gonzalez Green has still kept that plus 1 second lead, and Hamming just getting on with the job as he often does in the seconds races, just keeping Jack Mayer just enough away to make sure there's no DRS fight at the moment. So he's keeping them at arm's length.
I mean, the fact that Hamming is on course for his second P2 result of the season in the second round is honestly just goes to show how great Hamming has been for now, and the start has allowed to push again HGP Motorsports to provisional lead in the constructors. Of course, that will definitely change once the Japanese round has concluded, but again, such a great start that we've seen from Hamming as a result from that. And yeah, the fact they keep holding up that, at least for the time being, is pretty good. But a good mention as well to Gonzalez Green, who doesn't seem to show any signs of slowing down, even though that the softs are kind of taking the wear a little bit at the moment. We can see Laho almost have a look down to the inside of Thailand, but wasn't quite there yet. But we'll have the DRS available. Can Alex make the overtake to make it P4, Eoin?
I think he can. Well, let's wait and see. Yeah, he's getting very, very close, and he's having a look. Tylene not able to fight into turn 1 or to turn 2. So there we go, good spot there by Amir. He's found that Lahu was raring to go, and he completes the pass. But there was more heartbreak there for Chris Butcher. He had a spin. He goes down to 14th, but now he's having a battle with Ragoza, I think. So that's over P13. Ragoza in the 01 Esports car is doing everything he can to hold on to that position. So Butcher losing some more places, but he can still pick up 2 points as things currently stand. A good race for Cedric Bill up in 12th, and Van den Hudding indeed in P10 as well. This is excellent work. So Raboli has lost out there in a fight with the Dutchman.
Yeah, Van den Hudding's done very well in race 2 to make up the places that he's done so. Ockenhag makes to the pit, so that's pushed Catplay almost going to be pointless a bit for the time being. A yellow flag somewhere. Is that Gazella dropping off?
Yes,
it is, and he's retired. And that's unfortunate there. So there's only one sole HGP car ahead, and you're looking at the person that could well and truly maybe demote him outside of P2, as Mayer going to use for the softs through 130 arc side by side, approaching through the Casio Triangle. Hamming does his best to defend and will keep hold of it at least a bit for the time being. At the end of the third sector, through to the final corner, they're going to start through another lap under their belts, and Alex Laho is also going to swiftly join on with this fight. So Hamming has got a bit of fighting a little bit to do with here if he wants to hold it for the podium. Mayer swings around before the corner even, and a fantastic overtake puts himself and potentially Grand Prix into the podium scoring positions, and could well and truly get their first podium here in Suzuka.
Yeah, to back up Amari's win in Albert Park. So Jack Mayer wants to go for a second FS1 crown, and this is a way to do it. It will have a lot more points to still earn after the disconnection cost him very dearly in that first round of the season. And yeah, make sure you keep your eyes peeled for what happens next, as of course Hamming, having lost his second position, he'll have to keep his head up and hope that Lahu can be kept back. So we will see whatever happens next. More yellow flags waving, but hopefully that's nothing too serious. Lahu going to use a bit more curb down the outside, and not into the exit of Spoon though. That was more aggressive from Hamming. as he tries his utmost here to keep up with Mayer and have a shot of DRS. But if he doesn't get DRS here, Amir, then it's going to be an elementary overtake for Alex. Maybe even into the Casio triangle down the inside. Oh, they've gave each other racing room there. Very nicely played. But Alex is now onto the podium again. And Frank has to get the DRS counter.
Yep, and Laho has the DRS as well, but he's hooking into the inside because Hamming will have a bit of a slipstream to Mayer, but Laho still holding on through down to turn 1, and Laho needs to make it an easy and done case because he just wants to make sure he does not lose the DRS advantage to Mayer. But he's outside of it just a little bit now, about a second. Again, he needs to find 3/10 in 2 sectors to try and get that gap closed up so he can have the DRS to hopefully help let Jack Mayer carry him up to him. So that's what Alex Laho is going to definitely bet on. Amari Watson has been had a relatively quiet race 2 in comparison to race 1, and he's got Scott Flack on his books a little bit, but still not quite a lot there for Amari to make at the moment.
Yeah, nothing is going to fall easily for him with the top 3 through 8 drivers all in a straight line here. Jack Mayer will hope Gonzalez Green will falter towards the end, but it's been a very clean stint so far for our driver from the United States. And let's see now, Watson going up the hill towards 130R. Beautiful shot there, you can even see towards the Degners. And there we go, there's the bridge as well. So lovely shot there. And now let's see what Watson can do. And setting back here, ready to strike. 5 laps to go now as Gonzalez Green begins lap 14 of 18. And alas, it's not going to be the overtake just yet. He's going for it late though, Amir. Yeah, he's leaving it a little bit. Yeah, there you go. So well done, Amari. This time, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, sure commitment by there. Do you see how how much he had to stay behind Scott Flack to use the slipstream to make that overtake even happen? That was sheer dedication from Watson, and to move it so late is very good there. The Englishman bumps himself up into 7th, got Tyling. The next one on his list, a yellow flag somewhere, not sure where that has happened. I think that was Hoekstra just making the overtake. That's Horst Schaven, I think, dropping off a little bit. And yeah, he is now almost dropping over to P20, but has managed to recover. Unfortunately for Alpha Sierra Racing, their day goes a bit from bad to worse, as with Butcher losing out on the pole, but now Horst Schaven also losing that momentum too.
Ooh.
Oh my word!
Like Remco.
Oh my word!
It is Remco. Oh, he's lost the front wing on the rear right tire. He's out of the race, so double failure to finish for our broadcast colleague there. Hard luck, Remco. Just caught on the periphery of our camera shot there, up the Dunlop curve. He's picked up too much of the grass, and there you go. He couldn't slow it in time, and there you go, bang into the wall. The rear right tire goes pop, and that is him done for the day.
Yep, and we saw another yellow flag as well in the midst of the replay, but tension up to the front there between Laho and Mayer though. This is a titanic battle for P2.
Oh, for sure. And Laho going for the double, overtakes the 2023 FS1 champion, clean as a whistle into turn 1. And now the pressure really will build for Bottle Racing Team. When they were LEF Auto Racing last year, the Singapore Grand Prix went away from them as the soft tires just cried foul and said enough is enough. But of all the caliber of drivers for Alex Gonzalez Green to negotiate, he couldn't have asked for a bigger 2 today. Maybe even Frank Hamming in 4th could make it a big 3. But this is the real test of a dream from the United States to try and win this sprint race at Suzuka. He's got to put everything he's got into this remainder of the race as Patrick Roshak tries to make my prediction as reasonable as possible with a fight with Hamming now.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting battle between Hammond and Roshak, both on similar pace, and both have been really good in race 1, and they're going to kind of replicate their momentums here for race 2. Roshak has done, I think, pretty well in that regards. Tyler and Watson, though, will be the ones to keep the pressure, so if he doesn't make the overtake on Hammond, then he could be feeling behind that. They will if he doesn't, so Again, all the eyes are on to Rushak and the Polish team of Emerald Hummingbird to cap off what has been a very, very good race for them this time round, and a chance to make an overtake on Hamming, who has been really strong in Albert Park, will make it all the more sweeter for their momentum here in Suzuka. Round to the final corner, has the DRS advantage, and is going to utilize the slipstream that Hamming is giving him. Hamming holds on to the outside line. Rushak will hold on right down through the middle, down over through to turn 1. Easy as you like. Patrick up into 4th. A very clear-cut overtake.
Yeah, that's another top drawer example of how to conduct yourself on DRS here at Suzuka. Waited as long as possible and then made his intentions clear. Down the inside into turn 1. That gives Rushak a P4 to back up his 2nd place in race 1. So a great day's work here for Patrick Rushak if he can clinch this secure position with the 2.5 laps remaining. And Gonzalez Green's lead is teetering on the 1 second mark. He's holding on as best he can, but we'll have to see how hard Alex LaHoo is going to fight him to pull out a real dominant streak in our championship table. The interval says 9/10 of a second, coming down briefly to 8/10, but Alex Gonzalez Green doing his best to win it for the underdog here today. He's working so hard, but the threat of the luminous yellow and purple may just be a little bit too much to endure. We're waiting for the penultimate lap signal and a fight to the end for the win.
The fact that we're calling Bulldog the underdogs and not the new team is kind of testament to how strong LaHoo has really been at the start of the season. That Gonzalez Green, a chance to get Bulldog their first win in the GPVWC ladder, could be truly in his hands, but he has to be careful on how he nurses those tires. He's got about 2 laps left to go. Jack Mayer has fallen off quite a bit that I'm not sure if Rushak will have enough time to claw up the gap. He's gapped enough, but Gonzalez Green I don't think has, compared to LaHoo, and really it might be just LaHoo's time to make an overtake and a chance for him. He has been denied of a 2-race win in a round back in Albert Park as he lost to Amari Watson. Is he going to make it 2 times in a row if he loses that to Gonzalez Green, or is he going to try and make the overtake here?
If we're up to me, yeah, he's got to plot it into the Casio triangle and then decide how to get the boost on the start-finish straight. I think the middle sector is just a little bit too difficult to really work and overtake without some sort of error to help you along the way. So yeah, through to Spoon Curve we will go in just a moment's time. Take one last dab of the brakes, change down to 4th gear, stay stable with the steering there, go full throttle now, 5th, and let's see if LaHoo can
he's in the DRS.
Gonzalez Green. Yeah, it looks pretty good here. He's in DRS range now, Amir. This is the last opportunity to do it. He won't be close into the chicane, but he will have DRS, and that could be it.
The sheer amount of pressure, Gonzalez Green almost loses for the crossing track. You can see those tires are absolutely cooked, and that's all the momentum that LaHoo will need. Come over down to the final lap, Eoin.
Is it at the outside line for LaHoo? Is good enough. He's already through before he has to change the revs and bring it down. He has taken the lead, Amir, with a beautiful overtake, and Gonzalez Green will just have to watch those tires to make sure they will reach the checkered flag and get himself another podium in a sprint race format.
Gonzalez Green just now needs to rest the tires as best as he can, because if he cooks it anymore, he could lose out on the podium. And LaHoo really, really well kept his tires into such a good condition to make that overtake. So unfortunate for Gonzalez Green. He tried to put the tires in which were not there and available to facilitate in his circumstances, and as a result he lost down the lead to LaHoo, but he defended him, come up until the very last lap, and that is absolutely commendable there from the American. But it's still LaHoo's day continues to shine here, as he's not only going to win the race, but he's also going to win the sprint race.
Oh no, Alex, a bit wide there, but he has enough space to get back onto the circuit safely. But as David Junt says in our chat, the 2 BRTs will get a top 10 finish if they can hang on to it. So close call there for Gonzalez Green, but it's an Alex 1-2. Maybe LaHoo has just exhibited the real class that Gonzalez Green needs to emulate in the future. But for today, it's Alex Lahou sweeping everything in front of him today. The pole position, the feature race win, and now the sprint. So it's an unstoppable run for Team Hugh Performance. But well done, Alex Gonzalez Green. He's become an outside bet for a title shot, getting that Buildup Racing team into second. And Jack Mayer has secured P3 in the end. So it's a great return for the very experienced Jack with a brilliant drive to beat Roshak and Tylene.
Obviously, so impressive from Gonzalez Green and Mayer, both starting on softs and continuing to go that all the way throughout the entire 18 laps. The fact that they finished second and third is nothing. It's nothing short of honestly impressiveness from how well they managed to, save those tires. And even though Gonzalez Green did lose out on the lead to Lahou, I don't think it's all sadness for the Buildup Racing team, as that's another podium to Gonzalez's Green's books, and as you said, that's put them well and truly into an outside title contention in just the second round. But Lahou still remains untouched in what has been a phenomenal 2 races for the Frenchman, and what a way for Team Hugh to make their start here at GPVWC.
This is absolutely remarkable stuff. We know MS Performance dating back to 2024 had Victor Ivanov get out of the traps like an absolute lion, but there we go. Team Hugh Performance, we did not see this coming whatsoever. Alex Lahou, a late pickup for the Vietnamese team, and they are going to absolutely party in the night when it becomes nighttime in Suzuka. But there we go. Alex Lahou has won the double for his new team. Alex Gonzalez Green, spectacular job there to get himself on the podium again. Jack Mayer will be proud of himself there with a 3rd place finish. Then we have Patrick Roshak, Lucas Tylene, Frank Hamming, Amari Watson, Scott Flack, Menno Clont, and then Ruben van den Hudding with another excellent performance there to get BRT another top 10. So double for them. Massimiliano Raboli, Cedric Bill, Wopke Hoekstra, Raymond Van Sust, and Mateusz Gazowski have all scored the points for 11th through 15th there. Magnus Okenhag tried his best, but I'm afraid Cap Play have left with nothing for their performances today. So unlucky. 01 Esports drivers are together with Ragoza ahead of Serrano. Chris Butcher, the Race 2 reverse grid pole sitter, has finished 19th ahead of Dominic Koroshavin, his teammate in Alpha Sierra Sim Racing. And 2 more cars made it to the checkered flag. It was Christian Malsharek in the Team Iris car, and then Jonas Corrala also got there for the other Team Hugh car, but that was a lap down against his teammate. And a big series of DNFs there with Oliver Hargatai, Remco Dezeo, Michael Galka, Emmanuel Gazzella, Wesley Stefano, Damien Cardaz, Junio Lopez, and then Philip Koenig, the unlucky driver there, P30. So how did you fare, or how did you feel that one went, Amir? So very, very close for Gonzalez Green, but just wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he really did give it his all there. You can tell that was a drive of a lifetime there from Gonzalez Green. And, well, as Alex Lowe has said, great drive, and I couldn't agree with him more. It was so impressive to just watch Gonzalez Green still hold on to the lead and, you know, defend with the fantastic start that we saw at the start, you know, beating Butcher and Tylane, who were at the front row and jumping all the way to lead. And the fact that he's kept it there for so long while others battled just shows how great he did. And honestly, he played those softs to perfection. It's just the unfortunate that the you know, the softs, since they degrade so fast, that once they fall off a cliff, they really do fall off a cliff. And Gonzalez had really no choice but to just nurse it home. But he should extremely be really proud of that. And as you said, another podium. He's done very phenomenal.
Yeah, and you've mentioned Chris Butcher, and he is first in line for the interview segment. So let's have a chat with the Alpha Sierra Sim Racing driver. You've mentioned Chris Butcher, and he is first. Oh, I've heard my own voice there. A bit unusual there, but Chris Butcher, welcome into the interview room. Shall we talk about the good news first with race 1? You qualified,
yeah,
and you got
let's
yourself
do that.
P8.
Let's do that. Yeah. Yeah, not much to say really. I'd like to be a bit further up the grid, to be honest with you. Given the preparation that we've had for this round and sort of the gap that we had in Australia, it's nice to be sort of a little bit closer. So we are making some progress, but fundamentally we're just missing a bit of grip in the car, really. So we've got a lot of work to do to sort that out. But it was, it was fun battling through the pack, just staying out of trouble on the hard tyres on the first stint, and then, just sort of coming back through the field on the softs was fun, really. We all like grip, being able to overtake people, so that was nice. But and then race 2.
Yeah, unfortunate. Despite the reverse grid, Paul, there was a little bit of hope that you could get the job done, but as you say, the car was not behaving particularly well in the corner. So could you explain what happened in your first spin? We could try and just dissect that one.
Are we glossing over the start? Are we?
Oh, the start. Yeah, sorry, you're right. Yeah, the actual start launch. Sorry, my bad. Yeah.
Well, I've got a dual clutch wheel now, and I'm not used to it. Let's put it that way. So, I've not quite got the bite point right, and I just didn't give it enough gas basically, and went into anti-stall. So I was really fortunate that nobody collected me. So everybody did well to recognise that and go around me. So. Improve on that for next time. And then the first spin, just I tried a few tweaks on the setup just to get the front to behave a little bit better, because I wasn't particularly happy with the deg in the first stint in race 1. So I just tried a few tweaks to make that better. And it didn't really. It just transferred the problem onto the rear end, and just got a little bit wide in the S's and around the car went, and that was it really. And then the tyres were just completely ruined after that. So thought, all right, well, I'm going to drop out the top 15 here, so I'll go put some softs on and just have a bit of fun.
Yeah, fair enough. But at least you got to the finish in the end with your teammate there, Dominic. So Amir, do you have any questions for Chris?
I want to say big well done on your race 1 performance, Chris. Done 4 races, 3-point finishes. I know it's unfortunate about race 2, but still, you still hold on to the top 10 in the championship from your FS1 return. How do you feel for your preparations heading into the next round? Come through Bahrain.
A lot of work to do. I'm surprised I'm in the top 10 in the championship, to be honest with you, because I don't feel like the results really have kind of reflect what I think I can do. So yeah, there's clearly a lot of work to do. Given where we are at the minute, I'm not convinced Bahrain's a track that's going to suit us, but we'll just have to see what we come up with, and knuckle down and put the effort in and see what we can do.
Very good, Chris. Thanks so much for your time, and best of luck in the Bahrain round. Thanks for your chat, and take care.
Thanks very much.
I suppose it's only natural to bring in our Supremo for today, Alex Lahoo, the all-conquering championship leader. So let's have a chat with Alex. Hi, Alex. Can you hear us? Oh my goodness, bit of a cough there.
Yeah, sorry. I have the flu.
Yeah, there's a bit of a bug going around at the minute, but it did not put you off your performances whatsoever, Alex. So I suppose we could talk about your pole position lap first. Do you have any memories of that?
Yeah, it was pretty good actually. That's my PB, although I lost time in like turn 1 and the hairpin mostly. Could have been a 0.2, I guess, but that's pole, so no, I'm happy about that. Sorry.
Goodness, yeah, take a drink if you need one. No,
I don't have one. That's gonna.
Oh, you don't? So that's very bad then. Okay. Well, you got through the opening. Certainly, the first lap was quite dramatic. There were position changes all around, but your strategy, I have to say, is very fascinating. You went to lap 15, I believe, to take your tire change. Is that correct?
Yeah, I wanted to extend the hards, although the hard was not a good tire for this round. The softs was way quicker, even if you like under pushed. So I was thinking like, wait, if there's 16 laps in race 2, I'm gonna take them. But I saw 18. I'm like, what? Wait, did I make a mistake? So I took the hards anyway. For race 1, I should have extended the softs still, because I only did 12 laps on them. They were actually quite in good shape at the end because I had cleaner. It was a fun battle with Jack, like in race 1, race 2, It was a really fun battle. Did not expect him to be on softs.
Yeah,
It was
did
quite
a
a
super
surprise.
job, yeah. The super job
Yeah,
on the
he did a
soft,
good
and
job.
critical moments came
Yeah.
on the last lap there, Alex, against your namesake, Alex Gonzalez Green. So, how did you plot that winning move for yourself?
Yeah, first of all, a massive congratulations to AGG, GG to AGG. He basically he killed it today. He's gonna be a contender for at least top 5 this season.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Amir, any questions?
Alex, well done. This is your first ever double header, your Grand Slam here in FS1. First question, how many coughs did you produce during the race?
How many coughs?
Yeah, because you're having the flu, so I'm quite curious.
Not much. It was between sessions, like during warm up, and like when I'm not driving, when I wasn't focused.
Wow.
I didn't feel much of symptoms like during the race, just maybe feeling a bit hotter than usual. But like coughing was in between, like before quali, after quali, during warm up, etc. And now it's gonna take over.
Wow.
I will not be able to sleep tonight.
Jesus. So you did that and you still won. Wow. I'm honestly massively
That
even more
happens.
impressed. And I think your position has allowed, I think, Team Hugh Performance has now taken the lead of the team championship. You've now extended your lead in the drivers. So next up, coming up through Bahrain, that task and goal at hand. How do you feel in preparation for Bahrain? Do you think you'll be healed by the time you come in Bahrain?
What's Bahrain
I think you
next?
will. Yeah, Bahrain's next.
Oh, I'm so bad at Bahrain. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. Well, I'm a free agent. If anybody wants to drive, I hate this track, man. Except like on Le Mans Ultimate, that's it. And like endurance races, otherwise I don't like it. Depends on the mod we're gonna use. If it's DLC, then I like it.
It's DLC.
Yes! Never mind, I take it all back. Bahrain is an excellent track. Yeah.
Nice.
Lovely stuff, Alex. Absolutely unstoppable this evening. So get yourself into relax mode. Make sure you can get that cough out of your system as soon as you can. And we'll chat again in 2 weeks, all right?
Yeah, let's hope let's hope I'll be there. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
Sure.
fingers crossed. We'll let you go now. Thanks very much. And
Have
next
fun,
up,
guys, and good
problem.
evening.
You too. Next up, we'll get Bodil Racing Team's perspective with Lorenzo Aterovich-Funchit and Ruben van der Hulling. So that's Hudding. I should put both in now. Hey, Lorenzo and Ruben, can you hear us?
Yes.
Yep, I can.
Excellent stuff. So I'll start with the boss, the familiar voice around these parts. So massive congratulations to Alex Gonzalez Green, first of all, for his race 2 podium. So how did you plan that for yourselves? Did you think that was possible?
Yes. I think people, due to last season, underestimate Alex's ability. He's showing what he can do in Melbourne, and he's showing what he can do here today. When he has the right people around him, he can do this consistently, and I think now that he has the right people around him, he's showing it. And you know, he's been unlucky in Melbourne race 2, he's been unlucky in Suzuka race 2. At some point in time this season, he will get a win. I'm fully convinced of it. It just wasn't his day today, unfortunately. Got passed by Lehu on the final lap, but I could not be more proud of him, and not just him, but I couldn't be more proud of Ruben as well here, who stepped in very last minute to fill in for James Juba again and got double points. So I'm so happy with how the team's doing in these opening 2 rounds, even though the second seat is still a bit of a rotating door, revolving door. Sorry, but no, yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled with how these 2 rounds have gone, and I'm looking forward to the next 14 as well.
Love to hear it. Now let's have a chat with Ruben. So, as Lorenzo says, Ruben, you came in last minute. So, can you describe how your transition into an FS1 car was like?
Well, it started off a bit weird because my R factor was not starting up like half an hour before practice start. So I lost about at least 40 minutes of practice because of that. So I only had like 10 laps to get familiar with the car. And then we took quality straight away. And I was like, oh, I'm so far off. But still, I only had 10 laps. But the races were fun. The car's fun to drive as well. Still learning it. Like the throttle was a bit weird for me. But I'm getting there. But I had good fun. So I'd like to thank Lorenzo for the opportunity today.
Absolutely. And then race 2, you were very much amongst it, getting a fight all the way into the top 10. Certainly the thrill of the chase as well helped you out there. So any particular battles that you enjoyed more than any?
And then I have to go with Massimiliano, of course, because he's a team manager in Valle. So it's nice to get to kick his ass, if you know what I mean. No, it's just good fun sharing the track with him again. It's been a while. Yeah, that's the battle that stood out for me because I got him twice in the end. It's always nice to overtake someone twice.
Absolutely. And now, Amir, do you have any questions for the 2 gentlemen?
Yeah, impressive result, honestly, for your team. But another podium added to your books as well. All the added top points. So really impressive. Question for you both, Lorenzo. It's been 2 races. You said you've got about 14 to go. You have targets that you think Alex Gonzalez Green will, and I also agree with you, will get his race win this season. But do you have any goals for your team as a whole? And Ruben, for you, I know this is a one-time substitute for you, but do you have any other goals for yourself in GPVWC as a whole for this year?
I'll let Ruben answer first.
I think if a team ever needs me or Lorenzo ever needs me to do another race, I'm open for it. I still have to consider it because it ends quite late and I have to work next day most of the time. So my sleep rhythm will be a bit down the window, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it's something I have to consider. I really liked racing today. It was fun, even though with issues beforehand, because I was so stressed. But still, yeah, I'm open to it.
As for my part, obviously, I do feel like with how things are going so far, I am convinced Alex will get at least 1 win this season, but to say that we'll be battling for the title or anything like that, I just don't think that's going to be realistic from my part. If we can get a top 5 finish, I'll be well happy. If we somehow manage to push for top 3, amazing, but I think I'll be happy with a top 5 finish in the Teams Championship this year. And again, I'm convinced Alex will win at least 1 race this year. As for James, I'm yet to DM him about this, but he's missed 2 rounds already, and I am slowly starting to grow unhappy with that. He said he'll be available for today, and then he wasn't. So I'm not sure how the situation will be with that second seat as it stands, but yeah, hopefully all goes well, and yeah, looking forward to the rest of the season. If we can get that top 5 that I'm dreaming of, then superb. If not, we gave it our all.
100%. Lorenzo, thanks very much for the insight and best of luck working towards that target, especially with 2 trophies from Alex Gonzalez Green in the cabinet. You've got yourself a very good platform. So, Lorenzo and Ruben, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
You too, my friends. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
And so that will leave us to wrap up the stream here, Amir. So Ed Hunter will hopefully be back in 2 weeks' time for Bahrain, leaving yourself to get back to FS2 duties. So what was it like back together? How did you feel that went?
That was great. Reminded me of the second half of last year. Honestly, it was just as good as I remember FS1 racing being. But my word, for Edward to come back and realize that Loho has done a double whammy. But not only that, but the drivers and constructors have both, or teams championships have both been kind of flipped on their heads. Again, Gonzalez Green now holds second place as it stands, and he's about 1 point away from titling. And if you look over in the GP has lost the lead to Hugh Performance, but it's Boldo in second, and they're about 1 point adrift from KKR. So that just goes to show you how hectic Suzuka has been, that it has already changed on what Albert Park has been. And as long as the predictions that we've had from the start of the season in the podcast, it's almost been kind of thrown out the window by this point, because no one really has any predictions to see who could really outperform the other. And that's what's going to make Bahrain come next week even more exciting here for the FS1 crowd.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. So yeah, the predictions, all that effort that went into those will certainly be put up on its head, as Hugh Performance have really delivered an absolute stormer here with Alex Lahu driving so well, and Jonas Corrala as well came in to bolster the efforts there for Team Hugh. But that shall wrap things up for this evening. Thank you so much, Amir, for coming along to do Tuesday and Thursday double shift. We really appreciate that. And Fabian Jungbluth, I've had a chance to work with Fabian now. I'm delighted to have worked together and hope for many more opportunities with him. So that shall do it. Thank you very much for you as well, the viewer, for coming along and watching this stream. We've had some absolutely outstanding view counts for the first streams of each category so far this season, and we hope to keep that ticking over as best we can. So until next time in Bahrain, and of course the Super League and Super Lights next week, thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you again soon. Good night.